Chapter 343. Under the bulwark umbrella, Lin Feng looked up at the gradually dissipating nine-glory sky-falling formation and the huge red beam of light released by the formation. Similar to the third strike of the nine-light sky-shattering formation, which had been launched with the power of the water celestial star, the fourth strike, which had been launched with the power of the fire celestial star, was also filled with endless raging flames. Tens of thousands of fiery formations fused together and turned into a gigantic beam of light that shot towards the ground. The fire spiritual chi contained in it was so rich that Lin Feng had never seen anything like it before. When such a fierce fire burst out, it was enough to blast the ground within 1,000 miles into dust and ashes or even vaporize everything. The firepower of the 7 great true fires was superior in quality, but the number of 7 great true fires that Lin Feng had encountered was relatively limited. Compared to the red beam of light in front of him, it was like the difference between a drop of water and the sea, which made the destructive power of the two completely incomparable. Lin Feng gradually tightened his grip on the handle of the bulwark umbrella. Previously, when he resisted the third strike of the nine-glory sky-falling formation, Lin Feng felt the bulwark umbrella shake violently and almost fell out of his hand. Now, he was facing a stronger fourth strike. The space above the bulwark umbrella twisted again, and the huge red beam of light with a diameter of 1 kilometer became thinner and thinner until it was only about a foot long. It turned into a burning fireball and hit the surface of the bulwark umbrella. Under the bombardment of the fireball, the bulwark umbrella shook violently and sparks flew everywhere. But the umbrella itself was unharmed. Not only was it not damaged, but it didn't even leave a mark on it. As for the sparks that flew off the surface of the sky-covering umbrella, they turned into mountain-sized meteors that scattered in all directions, turning the surrounding area into a world of fire. Whether it was Shizong Yue, Sword Master Flowing Light and others in the sky or Dao Master Blue Thunder on the ground, they all witnessed Lin Feng facing the fourth strike of the nine-glory sky-falling formation. Even after being bombarded head-on, he was still leisurely and at ease. This scene made all the Essence Soul experts present fall into silence, especially the strongest one, Shizong Yue. He knew in his heart that the fourth attack of the nine luminaries sky-crumbling formation would be much more powerful than the one he had used together with the hidden dragon pot. Even if it was Shizong Yue, if he had to face this attack alone, he could only run far away. If he dared to face it head-on, even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. But now, Lin Feng was safe and sound under such a powerful attack. Whether it was because of the black umbrella or his own magic power, it was enough to prove one thing, and that was that Shizong Yue couldn't do anything to him. This fact caused the other primordial soul realm experts present to fall silent for a moment. After a long time, Shizong Yue was the first to speak with a deep tone. This time around, we have to thank Sect Master Lin for turning the tide. First, he used the formation to stabilize the ancient desolate sea world that was on the verge of collapse. Then, he took on the third strike of the nine-glory sky-shattering formation all by himself. Then, in the face of the enemy's desperate struggle, the fourth and more powerful attack, Lin Feng once again received it alone. In this battle, Lin Feng had taken on the legendary nine-glory sky-shattering formation all by himself, and he wasn't at a disadvantage. Before this, the first strike of the nine-glory sky-shattering formation had destroyed the formation on the North Wind Sea, and the second strike had required a few primordial soul realm experts to work together to withstand it. In the eyes of the primordial soul realm experts, Lin Feng's pure defense was really the best, and everyone was in awe of him. Although Lin Feng didn't directly attack the nine-glory sky-shattering formation, his role in this battle was definitely second to none. It wasn't an exaggeration for Shizong Yue to say that he had turned the tide. Prince Anliang, you're too polite. Lin Feng's voice reverberated in the sky. Did you capture the other party? Shizong Yue and the others dispersed the flowing fire in the sky and then landed together. It's a shame to say this, but the other party escaped by using the formation's collapse as a gecko cutting off its tail. Shizong Yue shook his head and said, the collapse of a formation like the nine-glory sky-shattering formation caused spirit chi turbulence, and the entire space became chaotic. The other party's cultivation is not lower than mine, and he took advantage of the chaos to escape, so I couldn't stop him. Shi Zongyue said in a deep voice. However, looking at the changes in his demonic power, he should be from the Cheongqi clan of the demon race. They are extremely evil, but I don't know where they got such a great opportunity to master the 9 glory sky-shattering formation that has been lost for thousands of years, and they even came here to cause trouble. Lin Feng frowned slightly. This place is very far from the Tianhuang vast land of the demon race. How did a demon with such a cultivation come all the way to the North Wind Sea? Prince Anliang and the Great Qin Empire didn't receive any news at all. Shi Zongyue's expression was ugly, and he nodded solemnly. The Great Qin Empire will definitely investigate this matter and give everyone an explanation. Not only Lin Feng, but the northern militant Prince Suxian, Flowing Light Sword Venerable, Brilliant Sun Sword Venerable, Blue Thunder Dao Venerable, Huixiu, and even the Heaven Pool sect Master Chao Wei all had solemn expressions. The group of Essence Soul Realm experts was furious, and the tense atmosphere seemed to freeze the surroundings. Although the 9 glory sky-shattering formation was powerful, it might not be able to stop the few Essence Soul Realm experts if they wanted to leave. However, the ancient desolate sea world was fixed there, and it would not run away. If the 9 glory sky-shattering formation were to destroy it, the rising stars of the major forces would all die here. Do Kun, Sang Luaha, Tao Yaoyao, Li Dongtao, Yun Mei, Gu Lei, Hu Ming, Song Qingyuan, and Dao Yuding were all geniuses that even the major forces could not afford to lose. When these people grew up, they were destined to become the pillars of their sects, and they would leave their names in the history of their sections. If they died here, it would be enough to cause a top earthquake in their own sections. For the Great Qin dynasty, it was the same for Shi Xingyun and Shi Shaoqian. Not to mention that all of Lin Feng's personal disciples, except for Xiao Yan, were in the ancient desolate sea world. If they were all killed, Lin Feng and Xiao Yan would really have to stare at each other, wanting to cry but having no tears. After being tricked like that, the group of big shots was extremely depressed. Chao Wei's face darkened, and he did not say a word. He secretly crushed a voice transmission crystal and contacted Wu Qingru through voice transmission. As soon as the message was connected, Chao Wei asked, "Is this what you meant by other changes?" Wu Qingru's calm voice came from the other end. "The Cheongqi clan has made their move." How did they do it?" Chao Wei said coldly, "You don't know." "I did know about it in advance," Wu Qingru said silently, "but I only know about it. I don't know the details." He paused for a moment, then continued, "I wasn't the mastermind. Speaking of which, I can't even be considered a facilitator or a collaborator. I'm just an insider." Chao Wei was silent for a moment, then calmly described what had happened. "Oh. It's the 9 glory sky collapsing formation. This is indeed beyond my expectations." Wu Qingru said with interest, "However, the strength of the celestial sect master is not beyond my expectations." Chao Wei frowned. "You want to use the demon clan's attack to test Lin Feng's true strength?" Wu Qingru replied, "It's just along the way, but I've gained a lot. I'm very satisfied." He thought out loud, that array formation of his can really stabilize space. Even if it's a dimensional realm, it's still able to stabilize the boundaries of space. However, if he can even defend against the attack of the 9 glory sky collapsing formation, what is the limit of his black umbrella? Chao Wei interrupted him and said in a flat tone, "We'll talk about these things later. What I want to know now is, who provided the Cheongqi clan with convenience, allowing them to enter deep into the divine land?" Wu Qingru smiled, "Your strength has suffered a heavy setback. Who will benefit the most? I've said it before. I didn't plan it. I'm just a person who sat quietly on the side and watched happily." Chao Wei said silently, "You chose to stand by when you clearly knew about it. That's because you can benefit afterwards. You are also a beneficiary." "That's right." Wu Qingru admitted frankly and smiled, "This matter has indeed frightened your disciples. I will compensate them." Chao Wei did not say a word and cut off the communication. He looked up at the sky and pondered for a moment. Then, he looked at Lin Feng and many thoughts flashed through his mind. At this moment, Lin Feng was also thinking, the people participating in the Desolate Sea Assembly today are all powers that are close to the Great Qin dynasty's imperial family. With this happening, there are only 3 suspects: the Great Zhou dynasty and the Great Qin clan. Apart from them, there's only the royal family. Lin Feng slightly furrowed his brows. The problem is that Wu Qingru, just whose side is she on? Is he loyal to the Great Qin dynasty, or is he leaning towards uniting the noble families? Previously, on the cloud-traversing peak, he ordered his subordinates to humiliate the crown prince of Chongyun. Was it a clear statement or was it a trap? There's a big difference. Lin Feng sighed. If he unites the noble families, then he will definitely secretly help the Shi clan and support that dual-pupiled person, Shi Tianyi. In the future, when Xiao Budian finds Shi Tianyi, this person will be a huge obstacle. If he is of one mind with the royal family and works together with the Qin emperor, it will undoubtedly be of great help to Xiao Budian. Even if they want to play with the emperor's mind to balance things out, I will have more room to maneuver. Lin Feng thought about it for a long time but still could not figure it out. He could only shake his head and temporarily put these thoughts to the back of his mind. The 9-glory sky-shattering formation was broken, and Cheong Qi was forced back. Everyone relaxed again. Shi Zongyue and the others waved their sleeves and released all the people that they had kept with their magic power and did not enter the ancient desolate sea world. These people were protected the moment they were attacked by the 9-glory sky-shattering formation. Many people did not even know what was going on, but when they saw the apocalyptic scene in front of them, they could not help but feel a lingering fear. After the disturbance caused by the 9-glory sky-shattering formation, the ancient desolate sea world had become extremely unstable. The leaders of the various clans all contacted their disciples through sound transmission crystals. The people who entered the ancient desolate sea world stayed in the ancient desolate sea world for a few days before leaving. Most of them had a disappointed look on their faces. Clearly, they did not have much time and did not gain much. Xianmen Tianzong and the others left the ancient desolate sea world. When they saw Lin Feng, they were all in good spirits. However, as soon as they saw each other, Xiao Budian secretly used his magic power to send a sound transmission to Lin Feng. Master, Mu Jihai wanted to plot against me. I killed him. Chapter 344. After listening to Xiao Budian's words, Lin Feng's expression did not change. He calmly asked, what exactly happened? Not long after we entered the ancient realm, we split up. The ancient realm suddenly shook. It should have been caused by the attack of the 9 glorious sky-shattering formation from the outside world. Xiao Budian simply explained the situation. Because the ancient realm shook, this disciple was temporarily trapped in a sea region. The power of the magnetic poles there is very strong. Mu Jihai just happened to pass by at that time and wanted to plot against me. After I broke free from the magnetic poles, I killed him. Xiao Budian paused and added, however, at that time, only the 2 of us were there. I'm sure there was no one else. Lin Feng shook his head. There were no witnesses. Chao Wei also knew that you killed Mu Jihai. Chao Wei would always leave his own mana imprint on these core disciples. If they died from natural disasters in the ancient realm, then he could only blame it on his bad luck. But as long as he was killed by someone else, then Chao Wei would definitely know immediately. But it doesn't matter. Lin Feng lightly said, when guests come, there is good wine. When wolves come, there are knives and spears. Those who kill will be killed. He dared to do bad things, so he was killed. If Chao Wei has any dissatisfaction, then let him find Master. Xiao Budian heard this and immediately laughed, yes, Master. Lin Feng turned his head to look at Chao Wei in the distance, his thoughts drifting. Before Lin Feng knew, Chao Wei already knew that Xiao Budian killed Mu Jihai, but he did not do anything. Although his status was not as high as Song Qingyuan and Dao Yuding, Mu Jihai was also a rising star that the Celestial Pools sect had spent a lot of effort to cultivate. No matter who provoked him first, he was killed just like that. Under normal circumstances, Chao Wei would definitely not let it go. But now, Chao Wei actually looked as if nothing had happened. This made Lin Feng have no choice but to mutter in his heart. There must be something wrong when things are out of the ordinary. Lin Feng shook his head slightly. Forget it. We'll deal with it when it comes. He turned around to look at the disciples of his sect. Compared to the descendants of the other forces who had returned from the ancient realm disappointed and gloomy expressions, the disciples of Xianmen Tianzong were clearly much happier. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng suddenly smiled. The dungeon's time has been compressed, but the three chosen one and a few others with similarly high luck went into battle together. They still managed to flatten this dungeon. If the efficiency is increased, shortening the time won't be a problem. Lin Feng looked at them and said with a smile, "How was it? What did you guys gain from this trip to the ancient realm?" Zhu Yi and the others looked at each other and smiled, especially Wang Lin, who couldn't suppress the joy on his face, appearing extremely happy. Lin Feng couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. As Wang Lin gradually grew up, he became more and more cold and reserved. His current appearance was extremely rare. When Wang Lin saw Lin Feng looking at him, he was the first to step forward and directly handed over the underworld pearl. Seeing this, Lin Feng immediately knew that Wang Lin had indeed gained a lot from this trip to the Desolate Sea ancient realm. The item was actually not kept in a storage bag but contained in the underworld pearl. This was enough to show how important this item was to Wang Lin. What concerned Lin Feng even more was that the Yellow Springs true water in the underworld pearl could annihilate everything. By storing the item in the Yellow Springs true water, it was clear that Wang Lin was not worried that it would be damaged by the Yellow Springs true water. Receiving the underworld pearl, Lin Feng sent his divine sense into it. He saw that in the quietly flowing underworld river water, there was a flawless white jade stone platform standing upright. Oh! Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He used his dermic powers to explore the stone platform and immediately discovered its profoundness. It was actually a stone platform made entirely of the purest spiritual qi of the world. Its essence was between spiritual qi and a physical one. The most primitive will of the heavens and the earth and the truth of the grand Tao were nurtured within the stone platform. It was tranquil and pure. If a cultivator below the golden core stage was able to refine the stone platform and fuse it with his body, then he would be able to directly establish an extremely high-quality Tao foundation and spiritual platform within his body. More accurately, it would be at least first grade. It was even possible for a supreme spirit platform to be formed. This was a divine stone that had been nurtured by the heavens and nurtured by the essence of the world. For every cultivator with a weak foundation, it was the most precious thing in the world. Lin Feng looked at Wang Lin and saw that Wang Lin's expression was excited. Clearly, he had also thought of the stone platform's use. Good, very good. Lin Feng was also happy for Wang Lin. At this moment, he even felt that as long as he had this stone platform, his trip to the Wasteland Sea Assembly would not be in vain. Lin Feng said to Wang Lin solemnly, "When we return to the mountain, I will personally watch over you as you refine it. At that time, I will make more arrangements. You must make full use of this treasure." Wang Lin listened and nodded. Even though he had a strong will, he was still excited at this moment. There was a carefree feeling in his heart. Lin Feng handed the underworld pearl back to Wang Lin. Then, he looked at the others and said with a smile, "What did you guys gain this time? Come and show off, too." Yang Qing scratched the back of his head and smiled shyly. "I obtained a spiritual herb by chance, but I don't know where it came from. I was about to ask Master to take a look." Lin Feng took the spiritual herb from his hand. The stalk of the herb was very long and green. Only the tip was bright red, as if it was stained with blood. After comparing it with the system, Lin Feng pondered for a moment and said, "Little Qing, the spiritual herb you obtained is called frenzied demonic herb. It is the main material to refine a type of medicinal pill, the frenzied demonic pill. However, I don't recommend you to take it." Yang Qing nodded. The name of the frenzied demonic pill was very famous in the heaven primal world. It was only effective for cultivators below the Yuanying stage. It was a type of medicinal pill that could cause a person's Fa to skyrocket in a short period of time. However, after taking it, one would fall into a long period of weakness. Moreover, it would cause great harm to the cultivator's physical body and spirit. Taking this pill could only be used in emergencies. Moreover, it was to kill 1,000 enemies while injuring oneself 800. It just so happened that Yang Qing knew the Lunar Mountain Flood incantation, which could achieve the same effect. Although he would also fall into a period of weakness afterwards, the period of weakness was much shorter. At the same time, it would not harm his body. In terms of effect, it was far superior to the frenzied demonic pill. Naturally, he did not need this spiritual herb. From Lin Feng's point of view, he was also not inclined to let the other disciples take the frenzied demonic pill. Rather than taking this thing, it was better to increase the disciples' hard strength in other aspects. Maybe I should also refine a few frenzied demonic pills in case of emergencies. As Lin Feng thought about it, his gaze suddenly fell on Xiao Budian. His heart moved slightly. Oh, actually, it can be handled like this. Seeing Lin Feng look at him, Xiao Budian smiled and said, Master, this is what I obtained. As he spoke, he took out his bronze void cauldron. There was a green vine in the cauldron. When Lin Feng saw it, he couldn't help smiling. Brat, your eyes are really sharp. With a glance, Lin Feng recognized that the vine in the bronze void cauldron was a special product of the ancient desolate sea realm. It was a plant that couldn't be found anywhere else, the heaven-mending vine. The heaven-mending vine was the best spiritual herb in the world to repair the flaws of the golden elixir. Xiao Budian's golden elixir was in the 9th orifice of the Xiantian realm. The biggest bottleneck of the golden elixir was to advance from the middle phase of the golden elixir to the late phase of the golden elixir. When undergoing the Yin Wind tribulation, the Yin Wind would polish the golden elixir and remove the flaws on the golden elixir, making the golden elixir flawless. However, Xiao Budian's golden elixir had 9 innately holes, so it would naturally expel the dregs from the golden elixir by absorbing the spiritual energy. Although this made it easier for him to undergo the Yin Wind tribulation, it also increased the difficulty and risk of undergoing the Yin Wind tribulation by 1,000 times. Now that he had the heaven-mending vine and many other treasures, Xiao Budian's path to the late phase of the golden elixir would be much smoother. Xiao Budian was also satisfied with this and chuckled. Lin Feng smiled as he returned the bronze void cauldron to Xiao Budian and turned to look at Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan smiled. This disciple's harvest is also a spiritual herb. It seems to be a spirit-ascending herb that can assist in cultivation. Lin Feng's eyes lit up and he instantly smiled. The spirit-ascending herb was a famous spiritual herb in the great heaven primordial world, so Yu Hongyan immediately recognized it. This spiritual herb was extremely rare, but its effects were very precious. Just as Yu Hongyan had said, it could effectively help cultivators cultivate and increase the speed at which they could absorb and refine spiritual energy. However, only Lin Feng knew that the spirit-ascending herb was the most important ingredient in refining the heaven spirit replenishing pill. With it, Lin Feng could almost see a huge pile of heaven spirit replenishing pills that could improve one's physique waving at him. At this moment, Zhuge Fengling shrank back, but Lin Feng did not let her go. He smiled and asked, What did you get? And nothing, I picked up a piece of beast skin. It can hide one's aura. Zhuge Fengling stammered, Yes, it can hide one's presence. Lin Feng nodded. Yes, it's suitable for you. Keep it well. Zhuge Fengling was stunned and carefully looked at Lin Feng. Seeing that Lin Feng was not being sarcastic, she instantly heaved a sigh of relief. She had thought that she would have to hand it over and had been nervous for a long time. At this moment, Lin Feng looked at Tunten. Without waiting for Tunten to speak, he looked away. Needless to say, I know that you must have eaten what you got. Tunten snorted and made a face at Lin Feng, but did not refute. Finally, only Zhu Yi was left. He smiled and took out an item, handing it to Lin Feng with both hands. Lin Feng looked at it and saw that it was a palm-sized tortoise shell. There were some faint patterns on the tortoise shell. Upon closer inspection, it was the image of the 9 palaces. The tortoise shell was dark and ancient. It did not look conspicuous, but it exuded a mysterious power that shocked people. It looked small, but it was actually very grand. It was just that it was hidden very deeply, and the divine item did not reveal its sharpness. The moment Lin Feng saw the tortoise shell, he felt that it was very familiar. Looking at the tortoise shell was like looking at the vermilion flame demon eye, life-casting stone, and emerald skull, these magic treasure embryos. The black tortoise shell in Zhu Yi's hand was also an embryonic magic treasure. Lin Feng was stunned for a moment. He raised his head and looked at Zhu Yi. He smiled bitterly in his heart. Damn, you are indeed the most heaven-defying. In terms of taking advantage of dungeons, you are really the leader of all my disciples. Lin Feng looked at the dazzling array of treasures and could not help but guess in his heart, this group of brats really followed the 3-all policy. They ate it all, took it all, snatched it all, and flattened this ancient desolate sea world dungeon. All the good things inside are probably here, right? As he was thinking, Lin Feng's heart suddenly moved. He turned his head and saw Sword Venerable Flowing Light looking at him with a complicated expression. Chapter 345. Even though Swordsman Flowing Light hid it very well, Lin Feng still caught a flash of complex expression on his face. Awkwardness, conflict, depression, all sorts of emotions intertwined together. Lin Feng thought for a bit and understood why Swordsman Flowing Light was so depressed. The root cause was all because of the heaven-mending vine that little guy brought back. And Tao Yao Yao, who was beside Swordsman Flowing Light, also had a conflicted and depressed expression. Ever since she killed a Yuanying opponent that caused her golden elixir to crack and almost shatter, Tao Yao Yao had been hiding in the cloud-traversing peak to cultivate for hundreds of years. This time, she suddenly came out of seclusion and traveled thousands of miles to participate in the Desolate Sea Assembly in order to obtain the heaven-mending vine that was unique to the ancient Desolate Sea world. Only by using the heaven-mending vine could she effectively repair Tao Yao Yao's cracked golden elixir and completely heal her injuries. With Tao Yao Yao's talent and cultivation, if not for the fact that her golden elixir was damaged, she should have formed a Yuanying long ago. Staying in the golden elixir period was not only a kind of torture for Tao Yao Yao herself, but it was also a huge loss for the entire Celeritas sword sect. However, in the end, it was all for naught. The heaven-mending vine fell into the little guy's hands, and was directly uprooted by the little guy. How could Sword Venerable Flowing Light and Tao Yao Yao not be depressed? But the heaven-mending vine was originally an object without an owner. Whoever obtained it would be the one with the ability. Swordsman Flowing Light could not expect him to just say a word and Lin Feng and his disciple would give up the heaven-mending vine. The two sides were not that close. To be honest, there was even a small grudge between them. Snatching it was even more impossible. With the strength that Lin Feng had displayed, Swordsman Flowing Light would have to be crazy to think of robbing him. So the only way was for Swordsman Flowing Light to communicate with Lin Feng and exchange other treasures for the heaven-mending vine. And this was the source of Swordsman Flowing Light's awkwardness, confusion, and depression. When Murong Yenran was defeated by Xiao Yan on the cloud-traversing peak, she had no chance to fight back. Swordsman Flowing Light, who had not accepted a personal disciple for hundreds of years, made an exception and accepted Murong Yenran as his disciple, which was actually a kind of silent declaration. He was announcing to Lin Feng that there would be a day in the future when his direct disciple would challenge Xiao Yan again to avenge his defeat and wash away his shame. Both sides were well aware that the battle between Xiao Yan and Murong Yenran was actually only the first round. Therefore, in Venerable Lightflow's heart, he actually had the intention of opposing Lin Feng. During the Wasteland Sea Assembly, Sword Venerable Flowing Light bet on Song Qingyuan. On one hand, he thought highly of Song Qingyuan, and on the other hand, it was a continuation of the conflict between the two sections. Under such circumstances, it was no wonder that Venerable Swordsman Flowing Light would feel conflicted if he had to lower his pride and ask Lin Feng for help. But for Sword Venerable Flowing Light and the Cellerita's Sword School, Tao Yao Yao, or Murong Yenran, which was more important was a question that could be answered without thinking. Therefore, Sword Venerable Flowing Light's expression quickly calmed down, walking in front of Lin Feng and slowly saying, "Sect Leader Lin, I have a presumptuous request, I hope that you can give me a helping hand." Lin Feng smiled slightly, not caring about the topic of conversation, and straightforwardly said, "Is Sword Venerable Flowing Light here for the heaven-mending vine?" Sword Venerable Flowing Light nodded. "Since Sect Leader Lin already understands everything, then I won't talk nonsense. My disciple Tao Yao Yao urgently needs this heaven-mending vine to heal. I hope that Sect Leader Lin can let go of this spirit herb. I am willing to use other treasures to compensate for Sect Leader Lin's loss." Lin Feng slowly shook his head. "I'm afraid that I'll have to disappoint Sword Venerable Flowing Light. I also have a use for this heaven-mending vine." Sword Venerable Flowing Light was silent, silently staring at Lin Feng. Lin Feng calmly met his gaze. Sword Venerable Flowing Light could tell from Lin Feng's gaze that he wasn't deliberately shirking or raising the price. Sword Venerable Flowing Light's heart sank. This was what he was most worried about. He wasn't afraid that Lin Feng would ask for an exorbitant price and deliberately hold back. On the contrary, if Lin Feng really valued the heaven-mending vine, then it would be the hardest to obtain this spirit herb from Lin Feng's hands. But Lin Feng's following words gave Sword Venerable Flowing Light new hope. "I will plant this heaven-mending vine in the Hidden Light Sect's mountain gate for 1 year. 1 year later, Sword Venerable Flowing Light can send Tao Yao Yao to my Jade Capital Mountain to ask for medicine." Sword Venerable Flowing Light frowned slightly. After a long while he asked, "I wonder what Sect Leader Lin needs my Celeritan Sword Sect to take out in exchange?" Lin Feng smiled. "When the time comes, I will naturally inform your sect in advance." Light flashed in Sword Venerable Flowing Light's eyes, and he nodded. "Then it's a deal." Although because of the sudden attack of the 9 glory sky-shattering formation, to most people, the Desolate Sea Assembly this time could be said to be anticlimactic, to Lin Feng and the disciples under his sect, it was definitely a bountiful harvest. The benefits that could be seen were the various bets he had placed on the Dharma Assembly, and he had already won a lot of money. Freezing Ice Dew, Sun Essence Stone, Geocentric Fire Lotus, 9 Revolution Ice Orchid, Vermilion Flame Ice Flower, Flying Snow Feather, 2 Extremities Heaven Flower, 8 Meridian Blood Ginseng, Little Shang Sword Mark Engraving, and Ice Soul Cold Light Mirror. Adding on the fact that Zhu Yi led the team in, a group of little radishes directly flattened the ancient desolate sea world. Spirit Ascension Grass, Mad Demon Grass, Heaven Mending Vine, God Stone Spirit Platform, Magic Treasure Embryo 9 Palace Tortoise Shell, they pretty much looted all the valuable treasures in the entire ancient desolate sea world. Apart from that, at the trade fair, Zhu Yi even cut out the dark single tooth from the stone he cut. Because Xiao Budian was assassinated, he also extorted a bunch of things from the Qin dynasty. Just these good things that he actually got his hands on were already a bountiful harvest. And the invisible, formless benefits were even more important to Lin Feng. Not mentioning anything else, after the battle with the 9 glory sky-shattering formation, Lin Feng's personal reputation rose once again. During this Desolate Sea Assembly trip, Lin Feng's personal reputation and the sect's reputation as a whole grew rapidly, causing Lin Feng's heart to blossom with joy. The strong performance of the sect's disciples in the assembly competition not only earned Lin Feng a lot of face, but also made them famous all over the world. After today, when the people who participated in the assembly spread the news, the disciples under Lin Feng's sect would become the rising stars and geniuses that the entire heaven primal world would marvel at. This would also completely solidify the good reputation of Xianmen Tianzong's sect as monstrous geniuses. But it's not completely without problems. Lin Feng thought to himself, regardless of whether it's the assassin who assassinated Xiao Budian or the Cheongqi clan who brought the 9 glory sky-shattering formation, there are many things worth pondering about. Cheongqi was one of the 4 great ferocious beasts of the primordial age. It was on the same level as Taotai, Hun Dun, and Swanni. It had a pair of wings on its back and wore the fur of a hedgehog. It looked like both a cow and a tiger, and it was extremely ferocious. Even among the demon race, it was an extremely ferocious and vile race. The great sage Cheongqi was one of the 10 sages of the demon race, but even the other great sages of the demon race were not willing to provoke him because he was extremely difficult to deal with. In terms of relationship, the Cheongqi clan had an old grudge with the great Qin dynasty. If they could find an opportunity to attack the great Qin dynasty, they would definitely not let it go. But it was still the same old problem. Cheongqi resided in the infinite wasteland of the demon world, and the spatial crack was thousands of miles away from the North Wind Sea of the Yu province. How did they pass through the vast territory of the great Qin dynasty and suddenly attack the ancient desolate sea world of the North Wind Sea? Lin Feng would not believe that no one paved the way for them. Similarly, the other few Essence Soul Realm experts present would not believe it either. And this was what made Shi Zongyue, Dao Master Changlu, and Dao Master Gambo Zhuge Guang depressed and angry. They had to investigate this matter. Moreover, the Cheongqi clan had actually mastered the lost 9 glory sky-shattering formation. This was absolutely terrible news for the great Qin dynasty, which had a bad relationship with them. This meant that other than the capital, West Hill City, the other territories of the great Qin dynasty were in an extremely dangerous state. This was also an issue that required the upper echelons of the great Qin dynasty to urgently discuss and come up with countermeasures. In particular, there was actually someone to help the Cheongqi clan. This made Shi Zongyue and the other two feel even more uneasy. At this moment, the ancient desolate sea world shook violently, and the entrance that connected the two worlds began to slowly close. Previously, Lin Feng and the others had asked the disciples to come out as soon as possible, which was very correct. Due to the attack of the 9 glory sky-shattering formation, the ancient desolate sea world, which was originally supposed to be open for nearly a month, had to be closed in a few days. This time, the ancient desolate sea assembly had completely come to an end. The cultivators of the various forces followed behind their patriarchs and prepared to embark on their journey home. Everyone had mixed feelings in their hearts, and their emotions constantly fluctuated. For all the cultivators who participated in the assembly, this was an experience that left a deep impression on them. Whether it was the fierce battle during the assembly or the sudden accident of the 9 glory sky-shattering formation, they would all be engraved in everyone's minds for a long time to come. As for the leaders of the various forces, there were still many problems to think about and many things to do. This assembly might just be the beginning. Lin Feng also summoned Jia Yu and Kuei Niu King, and led a group of disciples on their way back to the mountain. For him and Xianmen Tianzong and the others, they were still in a very good mood. Lin Feng even had the mood to watch the disciples tease each other. At this moment, Xiao Budian looked at Yu Hongyan and said with a smile, "Fourth senior sister, did you notice just now? That Shi Shaoqian who proposed to you just went to look for Tianqi Sect's Dao Yuding." Ha 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 ha. Yu Hongyan's thin sword-like red eyebrows instantly straightened. That lecher. Don't mention him anymore. He's so strange. Zhuge Fengling smiled and said, "I saw it too. But from the looks of it, he was also rejected by Dao Yuding. That person is really too funny. What is he thinking? I really don't understand." Everyone couldn't help but smile as they recalled how Shi Shaoqian had swaggered over to Dao Yuding and repeated his confession to Yu Hongyan with a straight face. His expression was incomparably solemn and serious. Even Zhu Yi and Wang Lin could not help but shake their heads and laugh. A smile also appeared on the corners of Lin Feng's mouth, saying in his heart, "You guys really don't say, if it wasn't for the fact that Dao Yuding is the Dao companion that Chao Wei has set for Song Qingyuan, she really might have a marriage alliance with Shi Shaoqian." Dao Yuding, Dao Jiqiang. Lin Feng raised his head and pondered for a while. Then, he put this matter aside and turned to look at Xiao Budian and the others. He smiled and said, "Oh right, your eldest senior brother is back." When the few of them heard this, their eyes lit up. Then, they saw Lin Feng wave his sleeves and Xiao Yan landed on the ground. Seeing Xiao Yan's weak appearance, the few of them were shocked and angry. Xiao Budian immediately roared, "Who did it?" Zhu Yi frowned. Wang Lin and Yu Hongyan's bodies were emitting a cold and fierce aura. Even Yang Qing's face revealed anger. Relax, relax. Lin Feng waved his hand and roughly explained Xiao Yan's situation. Xiao Budian and the others were all stunned on the spot. They stared blankly at Xiao Yan. After a long time, they suddenly laughed wildly. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 346. As the saying goes, there is no such thing as unconditional love or unconditional hate. Normally, as the eldest senior brother, Xiao Yan often takes care of the juniors. No matter what happens, he is always the first to step out. Therefore, when they saw that Xiao Yan was seriously injured, the disciples of Xianmen Tianzong were furious. However, when they found out the real cause of Xiao Yan's injury, they were all stunned. They only regained their senses after a while and almost fainted from laughter. Xiao Yan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. These brats, I'm already injured like this, and you're still gloating? Laugh, laugh, laugh. You only know how to laugh, is it that funny? Xiao Budian covered his mouth and laughed. No, no, it's not funny at all. Ha ha ha, not funny, ha ha ha. As he spoke, Xiao Budian's mouth seemed to be leaking air. He could not stop laughing, which made Xiao Yan even more depressed. Yu Hongyan and Yang Qing also covered their mouths and laughed. When they saw Xiao Yan's glare, they quickly stopped laughing. However, their faces were red, and it was obvious that they were having a hard time. Wang Lin smiled and shook his head. He walked up and patted Xiao Yan's shoulder. Eldest senior, you're different from me. You really don't have to work so hard. Xiao Yan opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but no sound came out. He could only shake his head helplessly. When Zhuge Fengling met Lin Feng and the others, Xiao Yan had already left. Therefore, this was her first time seeing Xiao Yan in person. However, she had long heard of this eldest disciple of Xianmen Tianzong. After all, before the Wilderness Sea Assembly, the most famous disciple among the disciples of Xianmen Tianzong was Xiao Yan, who possessed 2 true fires and fought against the elite early-stage Yuanying powerhouse, Crown Prince Chongyun. When the Desolate Sea Assembly had just begun, many of the cultivators from the other sects were secretly glad that Xiao Yan didn't participate. Of course, it was later proven that these people's thoughts were completely unnecessary. He dug his own grave so easily. It seems this person is only a so-so after all. Zhuge Fengling secretly sent a telepathic message to her gold-digging mouse. Her gold-digging mouse shook its head. Fengling, it's not that simple. Zhuge Fengling was slightly taken aback. Then, she heard the gold-digging rat continue, you can only see that he is in a difficult situation now. However, look at his side. With the master of the celestial sect watching over him, he will definitely be able to get through this crisis safely. When that happens, it will be a blessing in disguise. Zhuge Fengling looked at Lin Feng, then at Xiao Yan. She was shocked. How did I forget about this? As long as this person can overcome this obstacle, then he will have 3 great true fires in his hands. At that time, his strength will be so terrifying that even his group of monstrous junior brothers will have to fear him. While Zhuge Fengling's heart was in turmoil, everyone in Xianmen Tianzong, as well as Tunten, watched Xiao Yan's cruel performance again and again. Tunten laughed the most heartily. Back when she had just been released by Lin Feng and caused a ruckus on Yujing Mountain, she had been so scared that she had fled when she faced the power of Xiao Yan's 2 great true fires. This made the little Taotai feel deeply ashamed. Now that it saw that Xiao Yan's cultivation had gone awry, especially when refining the true fires, Tunten immediately felt extremely satisfied. And her smile also especially made Xiao Yan feel infuriated, wishing that he could immediately reward her fiercely and help her to have a long memory. Stop laughing. Eldest senior brother, this is just an accident. There's nothing funny about it. Zhu Yi's serious voice sounded from the crowd. Xiao Yan hurriedly said, look, second junior brother is still the cleverest person. This is just an accident. People make mistakes, and horses lose their footing. Xiao Budian pursed his lips and looked at Zhu Yi's back. Second senior brother, since you said so, why are you turning your back to us? Also, why are your shoulders shaking? Xiao Yan was tongue-tied and let out a long sigh. He had completely given up struggling against such a group of heartless junior brothers. Lin Feng looked at him with pity and laughed in his heart. Xiao Yan, this is called no swa no die. As the saying goes, if you don't cause trouble, you won't die. Xiao Budian then asked curiously, but speaking of which, eldest senior brother, how did you obtain the Nanmingli fire? The other people also became interested one after another, looking at Xiao Yan curiously. The Nanmingli fire was one of the 7 great true fires in the world. It was the most powerful fire source in the world and had infinite power. The great Qin dynasty's king Anliang, Shi Zongyue, cultivated the secret technique of the great Qin dynasty, the 5 emperors' true dragon secret technique. He used the Red Dragon Emperor's book to achieve primordial spirit and further cultivated the body of the Red Dragon Emperor. However, in the face of the shocking attack of the 9 glory sky collapsing formation, he could only dodge temporarily. However, with his cultivation, if he could control any of the 7 great true fires, such as the Nanmingli fire or the Nether Evil Flame, he could completely resist the attack of the 9 glory sky collapsing formation. Using one's supernatural power to fight against a top formation, such power could definitely be said to be shocking. The 7 great true fires were one of the top powers in the world. Now, Xiao Yan directly obtained 3 of them, which was really rare. Xiao Yan sighed softly and said, "It was Zhen who passed it to me." Some people felt that it was inexplicable, but only Tiny Tot knew the reason. He smiled and said, "Elder sister Zhen is the person that eldest senior brother has been thinking about. When they separated in the past, they promised to meet again in the future. This time, eldest senior brother is also going to look for her." Everyone immediately understood. They all knew that Xiao Yan went to chase after his wife, but they didn't know the specific situation. At this moment, hearing this, everyone's gossipy fire burned fiercely, and they once again started a round of strong onlookers to watch Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan glanced at them unhappily and curled his lips proudly. Both of them are the same. Is there a need to be so excited? Since you are so interested, go find someone that you like. What's the point of only thinking about me? This time, he was full of vigor. He pointed at his junior brothers and sisters and said, "It's not that I'm scolding you as a senior brother, but look at all of you. You're not young anymore, but you still don't have a companion. Don't you feel ashamed?" Xiao Yan was the first to fire at Zhu Yi. "Second junior brother, it's reasonable to say that instead of envying fish in the abyss, it's better to retreat and form a net. You should be clearer than me about this." Then, he looked at Wang Lin. "Third junior brother, I know that you work hard and have no distractions, but blindly cultivating is too boring. It's easy for your yin and yang to be out of balance." He glanced at Yu Hongyan and Yang Qing and curled his lips without saying anything. Xiao Yan more or less understood their love experiences, so he did not poke at their scars. However, when facing Tunten, Xiao Yan went all out. "Especially you. What are you laughing at? Instead of laughing at me, why don't you reflect on yourself and think about why that mysterious underworld being dumped you back then?" Xiao Yan's face was filled with disdain as he looked at Tunten. After sizing her up for a while, his eyes looked towards the sky as a disdainful snort was emitted from his nose. "If it was me, I would also not like you." "What did you say?" Tunten exploded and stomped her feet on the ground in anger. Fortunately, Xiao Yan reacted quickly and pulled her back. Otherwise, she would have rushed over and beaten Xiao Yan up. Tunten pointed at Xiao Yan and roared, "Just wait and see. I will definitely mate with the Blackwater mysterious underworld being." Cough 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 cough. As Tunten's voice shook the 9 heavens, everyone nearly collapsed, choking on their saliva. Xiao Yan ignored her and merely glanced at her from the corner of his eyes before letting out a disdainful snort. Tunten flew into a rage again. "Junior brother, you." Xiao Yan looked at Xiao Yan. "You are still young. There's no rush." He looked at Zhu Yi and the others and said with a smile, unlike the few of them. They are not young anymore but are still single. Actually, I fully understand why all of you are so concerned about my love life. After all, you don't have one. Ha, Master once said something that is most suitable to be used here. Xiao Yan laughed wickedly. People always have the greatest passion for things they don't have. Ouch! Before he could finish speaking, the back of Xiao Yan's head received a heavy blow. Lin Feng expressionlessly stood behind him, staring at the extremely embarrassed Xiao Yan for a moment. After staring until all of his hairs stood on end, Lin Feng suddenly broke into a smile. His smile was incomparably warm as the bright and beautiful sunlight. When I wandered the universe, I set foot in countless worlds and saw many different civilizations, Lin Feng said leisurely. One of those civilizations was very interesting. In that society, there was a group of people who were single and had no romantic partners. They especially disliked those who were married or in love. If these couples still flaunted their affection in front of these single people, they would often be tied up and burned by angry singles. Lin Feng sighed. How cruel. As he spoke, Lin Feng turned around and no longer paid attention to the frolicking between his disciples. Terrifying laughter that made one's hair stand on end sounded behind him, as well as Xiao Yan's slightly trembling voice. You, what are you doing? Let me tell you, the thing I'm least afraid of is fire. Ouch! Tao Tai, I'll remember you. If you burn me with the true sun fire, I'll let you have a taste of more than one fire in the future. Ouch! Master, save me. Lin Feng, who had his back turned, curled his lips at a place where no one could see. Serves you right. Don't you understand that flaunting affection will lead to an early death? You even dared to fire a cannon and mock a single man. You're asking for a beating. Although Xiao Yan possessed the power of 3 great true fires, he was like a tiger in the plains. All the power in his body was used to balance and suppress the 3 true fires. Even if he cultivated the great sun brilliant heaven Dao cannon, he could not activate it and was badly burned by Tuntun's true sun fire. Of course, Lin Feng would not let a group of leftover bachelors burn his eldest disciple to death. It was fine to just laugh and joke around. Xiao Yan's gaze was so helpless and fragile that he resembled a delicate girl who had been raped by countless burly men over and over again. Anyone who saw it would feel sad and anyone who heard it would cry. Lin Feng smiled. All right, stop pretending. Tell me in detail how you met Xiao Zhen. Due to the chaos of the 9 light sky-shattering formation, Lin Feng did not have the time to ask about this matter. When it came to business, Xiao Yan's expression turned solemn. After my first contact with Master, I suddenly met someone who took me to see Zhen. Chapter 347. After listening to Xiao Yan's narration, Lin Feng's eyes flashed slightly. Oh. Do you know who that person is? Xiao Yan shook his head. I don't know. I can only be sure that this person's cultivation level is extremely high. It felt as if I had no power to fight back in front of him. Although he didn't make a move, I had this feeling in my heart. Upon hearing this, Lin Feng nodded lightly. Yes, at least a primordial spirit cultivator. Xiao Yan's cultivation level had reached the middle stage of the golden elixir realm. Before something went wrong while refining the Nanmingli fire, if he really wanted to fight with someone, an ordinary early-stage Yuanying cultivator would not be able to withstand the power of the fusion of the true sun fire and the nether evil Huang fire, and even a middle-stage Yuanying cultivator might not be his opponent. At least a late-stage Yuanying cultivator, a great cultivator who had refined the heaven and earth manifestation, would dare to say that he had a certain degree of confidence in resolving it. On the other hand, Xiao Yan has the ability to fight a late-stage nascent soul cultivator and has the confidence to go all out. If he felt that he had no chance of winning before fighting, then that person had to be at least a primordial spirit cultivator. Xiao Yan also nodded repeatedly. I feel the same way. That person only said that he would take me to see Zhener. Apart from that, he didn't say a word. After arriving at Jenner's place, he immediately left. After that, Jenner didn't tell me who this person was. Seeing that she didn't want to say, I didn't ask. At this time, Xiao Budian interrupted and asked, eldest senior brother, is this person your rival in love? No, Xiao Yan said snappily. From his attitude towards Jenner and the tone in which Jenner occasionally mentioned him, this person should be Jenner's elder. Moreover, their relationship is quite close, so he should be a blood elder. Zhu Yi raised his eyebrows. Her father? Xiao Yan shook his head slightly. I'm not sure. If he is, then it's good news. At least he should have a tacit attitude towards me and Jenner, but... He sighed. It seems that he isn't Jenner's father. Everyone was silent. If that person was only Xiao Zhen's uncle and arranged for them to meet like this, then it means that in Xiao Zhen's family, the majority of people probably don't approve of Xiao Zhen and Xiao Yan being together. Especially Xiao Zhen's parents, they might not agree, at least not that much. A faint haze flashed across Lin Feng's eyes. He was not a pure conspiracy theorist, but he never minded speculating about others with the greatest malice. Although one should not have the intention to harm others, one should always be on guard against others. The reason why that person helped Xiao Yan and Xiao Zhen in the dark was because he felt sorry for Xiao Zhen and didn't want to break them up. But on the other hand, he might have other intentions. After learning about Xiao Yan's background, he tried to use Xiao Yan or even Lin Feng, who was behind Xiao Yan, to help him gain personal benefits. I hope he is a friend and not an enemy. Lin Feng thought. Then, he saw Xiao Yan's frowning face. Lin Feng smiled. Are you worried about your little wife? Xiao Yan said in a deep voice, I want to be with Zhen. If her family wants to force her to do something she doesn't want to do, I will definitely take her away. But if I do that, Zhen might not be happy. I can see that Zhen and her family have a good relationship. I don't want to make things difficult for her. Xiao Yan said sadly, so I was thinking, if I can get the approval of her family, then that would be great. Lin Feng coughed and glanced at the other disciples. This father-in-law and son-in-law relationship is indeed a very serious topic. If it is not handled well, there will be endless troubles. Although you guys are still single, you will definitely face this problem in the future. Come, tell me what you think. Lin Feng looked at Yu Hongyan and Tunten. Yes, you two have to consider the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship. But the principle is the same. Xiao Budian and the others looked at each other. Tunten curled her lips and said bluntly, what's so difficult about it? Mate first, and when you have children, all problems will be solved. Cough 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 cough. Everyone coughed and almost choked on their own saliva. Xiao Yan pointed at Tunten and stared at it speechlessly. Although he already knew Tunten's way of thinking, even the corner of Lin Feng's mouth twitched. He was greatly shocked by her idea of getting on first and then paying later. What's done is done, it's still a good idea. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and looked at the others. What do you guys think? Wang Lin thought for a while and said with some uncertainty, there is a saying in my hometown, when a mother-in-law looks at a son-in-law, the more she looks at him, the closer they get. Eldest senior brother, why don't you first make a good impression in front of Miss Zhen's mother, then gradually get in touch with Miss Zhen's father? Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. Lin Feng even slightly nodded his head. Yes, not bad. It's a good idea. Xiao Yan was also very happy to hear this, but very soon, a difficult expression appeared on his face. But, what should I talk about with Zhen's mother? I don't know what she likes at all. Xiao Budian snorted disdainfully. Stupid. Eldest senior brother, why don't you just ask Sister Zhen? Zhu Yi slightly frowned and said, it's better to ask Miss Zhen about her father. You don't have to cater to her likes and flatter her, but at least you have to have a common language and be able to communicate with her. The group of people discussed animatedly, speaking one after another, fully displaying the advantage of having a collective brainstorming. But it also made Xiao Yan's head swell as he listened. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Little Yan, if you want to successfully win the heart of a beauty, both hard and soft conditions must be in place. In terms of soft conditions, the feelings between you and Zhen must be in place. I believe that you and Zhen should not have any doubts about this." Xiao Yan repeatedly nodded his head and curiously asked, "Master, then what does hardware mean?" Lin Feng said, "In terms of hardware, it means that your personal conditions must also satisfy the girl's parents." Several disciples curiously looked at their master. "What are the conditions?" Lin Feng first glanced at Xiao Yan. "Well, his appearance is not bad. He is a little handsome and can be regarded as a talented person. There is no problem with his appearance." Xiao Yan bitterly smiled. "Master, you really don't take appearance lightly." Lin Feng waved his hand. "At least the appearance is pleasing to the eye, which is actually a very good thing. If the first impression is not good, although there is still a chance to save it, it will take a lot of effort." Xiao Yan grinned and laughed in spite of himself, saying, "Master, if you put it like this, your disciple is not just a little handsome, that is handsome and mighty, handsome and extraordinary." Xiao Budian and the others around him all snorted, despising their eldest senior brother for blowing his own trumpet. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Also, there is ambition and potential to be excavated, and it is clearly visible and huge." He looked at Xiao Yan and said with a smile, "Well, boy, you can be considered satisfied on this point." Just as a smile appeared on Xiao Yan's face, he heard the second half of Lin Feng's sentence, "Before you destroy yourself this time, this condition can be considered satisfied." Xiao Budian, Tunten, and the others couldn't help laughing again. Xiao Yan was dumbfounded, and after a long while, he smiled bitterly. Lin Feng continued, "But in addition, there are 3 more important conditions to settle your father-in-law and mother-in-law." Hearing this, Xiao Yan suddenly became spirited, and the others stopped laughing and looked at Lin Feng attentively. Lin Feng coughed lightly and said seriously, "These 3 conditions, in summary, are a house, a car, and a ticket." "Huh?" Xiao Yan and the other disciples all widened their eyes and looked at Lin Feng in confusion. After a long while, Xiao Yan said hesitantly, "Master, I can understand a house, but does it refer to a house to live in? I don't quite understand the car and ticket. I have only seen horse carriages, ox carts and so on. It can't be a small cart carrying goods, right? I don't understand what the ticket means at all. Even if it's a house and a car, I don't understand what it has to do with Zhener's parents." Lin Feng shook his head with a smile, "Actually, you don't understand any of them. The so-called house is indeed a house to live in, but when it comes to us, master and disciple, it is a cave residence for you to cultivate." Lin Feng patiently guided him, "Dharma, earth, wealth and companionship, there is no need to say more about the Dharma. The Dharma that master will teach you is absolutely top-notch, but there is a problem with the earth part. I'm very happy for you to live on Jade Capital Mountain after you get married, but the problem is, think about it, when you and your little wife want to be intimate, there might be a few eavesdroppers by your side at any time. How disappointing would that be?" Xiao Yan shivered in that instant. He suddenly turned his head and glared at Xiao Budian and Tunten beside him like a tiger watching its prey. Tunten snorted and turned its head away, but its eyes were filled with amusement as they continuously rolled around in their sockets. Xiao Budian giggled, using his pure and clear big eyes to look at Xiao Yan face to face. But the more he behaved like this, the more scared Xiao Yan became. He waved his fist at Xiao Budian. Lin Feng continued with a smile, "As for the car, you can think of it as a horse carriage, and by extension, it is a mount, a vehicle." His bewitching voice fell into Xiao Yan's ears like a demonic voice piercing his brain. "Think about it, having a flashy ride in front of your father-in-law and mother-in-law, how much face is that? Even if your father-in-law and mother-in-law do not care, in front of other women, they will still give you and them face." Xiao Yan's eyes lit up, and he looked directly at Jiayu, who was at his feet. Like you, master. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. You are worth teaching. As for money, it is even simpler. It is the wealth of Dharma, earth, wealth and companionship. Zhuge Fengling watched dumbfounded as Lin Feng and the disciples joked with each other. Suddenly, a feeling of envy rose in her heart. Such a harmonious and relaxed master-disciple relationship is so good. As they laughed and joked, the group of master and disciples returned to Jade Capital Mountain. Just as they landed on the mountain peak, they saw Kong Nanhua come out to welcome them. Welcome back, sect leader. Seeing his expression, Lin Feng could not help but ask, Nanhua, is something the matter? Kong Nanhua nodded lightly. There is news from the Sand Continent that the great Zhou dynasty has sent someone to deliver Zhu Yi's official document for the examination. Chapter 348. Hearing Kong Nanhua's words, Lin Feng nodded and looked at Zhu Yi. Go and get it. After saying that, he drew a talisman in the air with his finger, and then it landed on Zhu Yi's forehead and disappeared. Zhu Yi bowed to Lin Feng and left Yujing Mountain under the protection of Lin Feng's mana. He left the void turbulence, descended to the divine land, and flew towards Shazhou city. Lin Feng gazed at his departing back, saying in his heart, apart from Xiaoyi, I also have to put the little guy's grudge with that clan brother of his on the agenda. While thinking, Lin Feng waved towards the little guy, Tianhao, come over. Tiny Tot walked to Lin Feng. Master. Lin Feng said, hand over the vermilion flame ice flower that you and Mu Jihai won in the bet during the spell gathering competition. Tiny Tot took out the vermilion flame ice flower. After Lin Feng took it, he said to Yang Qing, little Qing, give me the mad demon grass you got from the ancient desolate sea world. Yang Qing quickly took out the mad demon grass. Lin Feng said, you two take what you need. Give the vermilion flame ice flower to little Qing. Tianhao, keep this mad demon grass. If you want to understand the third word of the black-yellow four-word formula, this mad demon grass will be very useful. Lin Feng's tone was solemn. But remember, this is not for you to eat. It's for you to figure out after refining the medicinal power. After that, you must immediately expel the medicinal power from your body. Otherwise, it will hurt your vitality. Tiny Tot's eyes brightened. He smiled. I really need this. Lin Feng nodded his head, you only need to use the amount of 1 leaf each time. Small amounts, multiple times, gradually increasing. He looked towards Yang Qing. Little Qing, Z, once you've mastered the Dao technique I passed on to you that day, you can try to condense a pill cauldron and advance to the late stage of foundation building. After that, you can refine this vermilion flame ice flower. The day you form your gold core won't be far away. Calm down, don't be impatient. When Yang Qing heard this, she nodded repeatedly. Master, rest assured. This disciple will follow your instructions. The little guy moved closer to Yang Qing and said with a smile, fifth senior brother, I brought back a lot of good things this time. They are all whole plants like the heavenly river bell jade fruit, purple jade melon, scarlet fire oil pear, and essence gold fruit. I plan to plant them all in the Medicine Valley. Can you help me take care of them? Yang Qing smiled. What's so good about that? Just leave it to me. Xiao Budian cheered and moved closer to Xiao Yan. He chuckled and said, eldest senior brother, why don't you let the Tian Qihua doll show its power again? When he thought of the scene of all kinds of delicious fruits covering this valley under the influence of the Tian Qihua spirit soil, the little guy saw stars and even his breathing became rapid. Xiao Yan rolled his eyes in annoyance. If you want me to die, just say it. Only the 7 great true fires could feed the Tian Qihua doll. If he still dared to use the true fire in his current state, he would really be asking for trouble. The little guy sighed and suddenly reacted. He turned around and stared at Tunten. Tunten was a little confused. It's okay. Eldest senior brother doesn't need to do anything. You just need to call the Tian Qihua doll out. The little guy chuckled. Xiao Yan glanced at Tunton beside the little guy and suddenly remembered that this Taotai also had the true fire of the sun. He immediately nodded. Control yourself. If the Tian Qihua dal swallows too much true fire at once, it will not be easy to digest and might even be damaged. Don't worry, don't worry. The little guy was very happy. It was as if he could see countless delicacies waving at him. While thinking, the little guy looked warily at Tunton beside him. There are so many good things. We have to be careful not to let her eat them, especially the golden body deer, black spirit flood dragon, 9-heart sparrow, and that pair of soaring snow feathers. Those are to be kept for cubs. Don't let her eat them secretly. Tunton was even more confused by the little guy's gaze that was full of warning and vigilance. It couldn't help but curl its lips. Strange. I don't understand what you are doing. Lin Feng looked at this scene with amusement. He patted the little guy's little head. Don't just think about eating. You have to pay more attention to your cultivation. Actually, this Dharma assembly is indeed not the best time for you to advance to the middle stage of the golden elixir. However, since you have done it, it doesn't matter. However, you can't forget to make up for it. You have to be more diligent in your cultivation. Lin Feng pinched the little guy's snow-white and rosy cheeks. Otherwise, you will suffer when you go through the Yin Wind tribulation. The little guy stuck out his tongue and smiled. Master, don't worry. I will definitely cultivate seriously. Lin Feng nodded and pondered. Gungjin flowing water stone, Tianheng cinnabar, Brontosaurus's skeleton, King Phalion's claws, coiling dragon's blood, Sun Yang essence stone, geocentric fire lotus, and 9 reincarnation ice orchid. In addition, there is also the unexpected heaven mending vine. With all these things together, with the protection of my magic power and the leaves of the mysterious sky treasure tree, the success rate of the little guy advancing to the late stage of the golden elixir should be greatly increased. However, I still don't have full confidence. Sigh. Thinking about it, Lin Feng scratched his head. The ultimate goal of a cultivator in the golden elixir period was to polish their golden elixir to perfection, without any impurities or flaws on the outside. However, the little guy's golden elixir was in the 9th orifice of the Xiantian realm. Ever since his golden elixir was born, there were 9 holes on it. If it was someone else's golden elixir, the golden elixir would have shattered long ago. The little guy's purple core gave birth to a phenomenon that allowed him to form such a golden elixir. It must be related to the 9 spiritual platforms and the 9 cauldrons he formed when he was in the Foundation establishment realm. In the end, when he formed his golden core, he formed such a weird golden elixir. His 9 orifices absorbed and refined the spiritual energy of heaven and earth at a speed far faster than ordinary people. This made the little guy the most powerful existence among Lin Feng's disciples. In terms of the total amount of magic power, Xiao Yan and Zhu Yi combined might not be as powerful as the little guy. In the world, among cultivators in the same realm, only those who cultivated the primordial true water could compete with the little guy in terms of magic power. Furthermore, the 9 orifices absorbed and expelled the impurities in the golden elixir during his daily cultivation. This made the little guy's Yin flame tribulation as easy as walking on flat ground. However, fortune and misfortune came hand in hand. The special characteristics of the golden elixir made the little guy's golden elixir period easy at first but difficult at the end. He had to overcome the Yin Wind tribulation to make up for the loopholes and advance to the late stage of the golden elixir to perfection, making the golden elixir flawless. Therefore, the moment Lin Feng noticed the special characteristics of the golden elixir, he was already secretly preparing to find a way for the little guy to break through the bottleneck in the future. In this time's desolate sea spell assembly, Lin Feng's gains were great under the premise that he had a target in mind. He already obtained most of the things that he wanted. In this case, there should be no problem for the time being. Lin Feng nodded slightly and sent the little guy and the rest back to cultivate. Naturally, Xiao Yan had to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time. As long as he could reach the late stage of the golden elixir, he would have the opportunity to refine the Nanmingli fire. By then, with the 3 great true fires, he would be ferocious and could go anywhere in the world. As for Zhu Yi, just like what Lin Feng, Kang Nanhua and Miao Shihao mentioned in the past, this second disciple of his is the standard example of a well-prepared person. He looks like he doesn't reveal anything, but in reality he walks extremely steadily step by step. At crucial moments he can always surprise people and amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. In fact, after the battle with the little guy, Zhu Yi, who wrote the second paragraph of the essay, had also improved in his cultivation. As long as he continued on this path, the late stage of the golden elixir was just around the corner. Furthermore, there were no major risks or bottlenecks. Unlike Xiao Yan and the little guy, who often made Lin Feng worry, Zhu Yi's cultivation was very stable. It was not without reason that Kang Nanhua was optimistic about him being the first to form his nascent soul. Yang Qing, on the other hand, had to advance boldly. His talent and innate bone structure were enough to support his rapid development. The only thing that restricted him was his somewhat weak temperament and willpower. Fortunately, with the help of the exorcism Vermilion Silk, Lin Feng had already paved the path for him. If there were no major accidents, it would not be difficult for him to advance to the late stage of the foundation establishment realm. The first difficulty in Yang Qing's cultivation was actually to open the Sea of Qi in the Qi cultivation realm and advance to the foundation establishment realm. For Qi cultivation realm cultivators to build their foundation, they mainly needed a firm and outstanding willpower. This was exactly what Yang Qing lacked. Fortunately, with the help of the lunar true water, Yang Qing muddle-headedly passed this hurdle. It was a fated chance that could only be encountered and not sought. For Yang Qing on the path of cultivation, the biggest difficulty was forming the golden elixir. In terms of magic power cultivation, one could see the minute details, see the inner vision and obtain longevity, and in terms of temperament and willpower, one could see through the difficulties of life and death. Therefore, when Yang Qing reached the core formation realm, Lin Feng would still be very busy. As for Yu Hongyan, she was just the opposite. She had always been brave and fearless, pressing forward. She was already in the late stage of the foundation establishment realm, but Lin Feng didn't want her to attack the golden elixir period too early. Instead, he wanted her to settle down and accumulate for a period of time. This would greatly reduce the difficulty of her forming her core, and at the same time, her future cultivation path would be easier. As for the last person, Lin Feng opened his mouth and left Wang Lin behind. Wang Lin silently stood beside him. Lin Feng nodded slightly. "Follow master." He took the heaven-mending vine and first planted it in the medicinal valley. Then, he directly cut off a piece of vine from the heaven-mending vine. Wang Lin was a little curious. "Master, isn't this thing used to repair the golden elixir?" Lin Feng smiled faintly. "That's because it's too precious. No one is willing to give it to a foundation establishment cultivator." The heaven-mending vine's biggest use was to repair a cultivator's damaged golden elixir. Apart from that, the heaven-mending vine could also repair a foundation establishment cultivator's pill cauldron, beer, or even qi si. The name, heaven-mending vine, was well-deserved. Although it didn't benefit those who were born with it, it did indeed have the effect of mending the heavens for those who were born with it. However, just as Lin Feng said, the heaven-mending vine was too rare. In the entire universe, only the ancient desolate sea world could produce it. Its quantity was so low that it made one's hair stand on end. When Wang Lin heard this, his heart immediately warmed. He nodded and didn't say anything. On the way back to Wang Lin's cave, Lin Feng handed the heaven-mending vine to Wang Lin. Wang Lin also took out the divine stone beer he obtained from the ancient desolate sea world. "There's no rush." As Lin Feng spoke, he took out a small porcelain bottle and handed it to Wang Lin. Inside was the Heaven Spirit Deficiency Replenishing Pill that he obtained from the system. It could strengthen one's foundation. This time, Lin Feng was going to go all out. He wanted to win this battle and completely reverse Wang Lin's previous decline. Chapter 349. Ever since you suffered a setback in building your spiritual platform last time, I have felt sorry for you. Slowly, Lin Feng said, this Heaven Spirit Supplement pill can enhance a cultivator's innate root bone and spirituality. It is suitable for you to use. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he took the porcelain bottle containing the pill. His path of cultivation was so difficult because his innate root bone was relatively low. For the same amount of cultivation time, the amount of spiritual energy he absorbed and refined was far less than that of ordinary people, let alone Xiao Budian and Yang Qing, who had heaven-defying root bones. The amount of spiritual energy Xiao Budian absorbed in one breath was almost equivalent to half a day of his hard work. Such a gap was not something that could be made up for with hard work alone. In his excitement, Wang Lin's expression changed slightly. He looked up at Lin Feng and said hesitantly, Master, the other fellow apprentices. Lin Feng smiled slightly. It's okay. I have already derived the refining formula of this pill and collected the required medicinal materials. With the ascending spirit grass in hand, coupled with other medicinal materials, Lin Feng could finally mass-produce this Heaven Spirit Supplement pill. He paused and then smiled. It is said to enhance the root bone, but only people with a weak foundation will have a significant effect if they take this pill. If you let your little junior brother and your fifth junior brother eat it, it will not be much different from eating jelly beans. When Wang Lin heard this, a smile appeared on his face. He had never avoided the fact that his fellow disciples had stronger bone frames than him. Especially when they teased each other, he didn't mind. Facing a difficult problem calmly was the correct way to solve a problem. Then this disciple can rest assured. After Wang Lin said this, he did not hesitate and immediately poured out the Heaven Spirit Supplement pill from the porcelain bottle. He raised his neck and swallowed it. After taking the pill, Wang Lin sat cross-legged and used his own magic power to dissolve the medicinal power. He absorbed it and guided the medicinal power to transform his body. Lin Feng stood on the side and watched silently. His spiritual consciousness was also constantly observing the changes in Wang Lin's body. If something unexpected happened, he would be able to intervene in time. Under the effect of the consciousness, the Wang Lin in front of Lin Feng's eyes seemed to have become transparent, and a light blue stream of light was continuously advancing towards his limbs and bones, spreading throughout Wang Lin's entire body. Meridians, bones, flesh and blood, all the way to every acupoint, all kinds of hidden and crucial points, were all reached. Under the effect of the pale blue light, Wang Lin's body was undergoing earth-shattering changes. As the medicinal power circulated, Wang Lin's own mana also circulated. At this time, the effects of the medicinal power and Wang Lin's changes could be seen. The originally sluggish and cumbersome magic power, at this moment, became lively, flexible, and flexible. The circulation of the magic power in Wang Lin's body seemed to have switched from a slow lane to a fast lane in an instant. The width of the road directly changed from a small country road to 8 lanes. And the speed at which he absorbed the external spiritual energy into his body and refined it into magic power also became faster. Compared to his current state, Wang Lin's previous cultivation speed was simply like an old cow breaking a cart. Lin Feng's expression changed. He saw that Wang Lin's spirit was also being nourished by the pale blue light. Something like the root bone was not simply the foundation of the physical body. All the innate elements related to cultivation could be classified as the root bone. In addition to the foundation of the physical body, the agility of the spirit and the degree of toughness were also part of the root bone. The more agile the spirit, the more sensitive the cultivator would be to the external spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Thus, it would be more effective to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for cultivation. And under the nourishment of the pale blue light, Wang Lin's spirit also clearly became more agile than before. Lin Feng could feel that Wang Lin was more sensitive to the changes in the external spiritual energy of heaven and earth. After the pale blue light had covered Wang Lin's entire body and completed the transformation, the light all rushed towards Wang Lin's Dantian Sea of Qi. When the light all entered into Wang Lin's Sea of Qi, Wang Lin's Sea of Qi suddenly shook violently. Like a tsunami, Wang Lin's Sea of Qi was turbulent. It was constantly surging, as if it was boiling. "Little Lin, this is a good opportunity." Lin Feng nodded and pointed his finger at the God Stone spiritual platform beside him. Under the impact of the purple qi, the God Stone spiritual platform immediately shattered. It turned into a flashing white jade light and rushed into the top of Wang Lin's head. This white jade light went all the way down from the top of Wang Lin's head, like the Milky Way sliding down from the ninth heaven, straight into the Dantian Sea of Qi. After the white jade light entered Wang Lin's Dantian Sea of Qi, it became even more magnificent. A huge vortex appeared in the center of the Dantian Sea of Qi, and in that vortex, a white jade stone platform was slowly rising. A large amount of Wang Lin's own magic power poured into the white jade stone platform. The white jade stone platform was instantly dyed purple and turned into a purple jade stone platform. The purple jade stone platform was surrounded by yellow spring true water, and the top of the stone platform was shrouded in black fog. This scene was very similar to when Wang Lin built his own spiritual platform, but the difference was that this time, in the black fog, there was a faint light flashing, revealing a hidden vitality in the cold silence. The purple jade stone platform rose from the ground and continued to rise, layer after layer taking shape. This time, after smelting the divine stone spirit platform that he obtained from the desolate sea ancient world, which was naturally nourished by the heavens and the earth, Wang Lin's spirit platform quickly reached 7 layers, and continued to build. Lin Feng, who had been observing Wang Lin's movements, slightly furrowed his brows at this time because he discovered that after Wang Lin's purple jade spiritual platform surpassed the 7th level, it started to show signs of instability. It was fine at the 8th level, but when he continued upwards and was about to build the 9th level of the spiritual platform, a sudden change occurred. After building the 9th layer of the spirit platform, Wang Lin's purple jade spirit platform suddenly began to shake violently, and cracks even appeared at the base, as if it would collapse at any time. Seeing this, Lin Feng did not hesitate and immediately took out the heaven-mending vine. He activated his magic power, and the heaven-mending vine turned into a dark green light, fusing into Wang Lin's body. The dark green light fell into Wang Lin's energy sea, and immediately turned into a thick vine, wrapping around the purple jade spirit platform. After being attached by the green vine, the green light flashed, and Wang Lin's purple jade spirit platform, which had originally cracked, stabilized. The original cracks also gradually disappeared, and it became flawless again. Lin Feng and Wang Lin, master and disciple, heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. Lin Feng flicked his finger again, and a mysterious heavenly treasure leaf landed between Wang Lin's eyebrows. The spiritual power of the leaf was absorbed by Wang Lin, and it also landed on the top of the spirit platform in the energy sea, drawing a full stop for Wang Lin's spirit platform. Amidst the rumbling, the purple jade spirit platform completely stabilized, and the magic power in Wang Lin's body underwent a qualitative change, becoming more condensed and powerful. In his energy sea, there stood a 9-story purple jade spirit platform. At the top of the spirit platform, black clouds lingered, and it was like a dead zone, exuding an ice-cold aura of death. Although it's not the traditional 10-story supreme spirit platform, it still has its unique features. Lin Feng nodded in satisfaction, and then he saw the magic power in Wang Lin's body suddenly surge again. The Nirvana death chi above the spirit platform rolled like waves, constantly gathering towards the center. Impressively, it wanted to condense even the pill cauldron in one go. Seeing this, Lin Feng laughed loudly. "Little Lin, it seems that you've been holding it in for a long time." Regarding this behavior, not only did Lin Feng not stop it, but he also pointed a finger at the center of Wang Lin's eyebrows, using his own magic power to help him. Previously, Wang Lin had accumulated enough in the early stage of foundation establishment, so much so that it was a little excessive, but he had been stuck at the gate of the spirit platform, unable to advance an inch. The current Wang Lin was like an erupting volcano. He had suppressed it for too long, and now he could finally vent it to his heart's content. In one go, he had enough confidence to continuously break through the obstacles in front of him. With the nourishment of Lin Feng's magic power, Wang Lin was even more like a tiger that had grown wings. The shadow of a pitch-black, ice-cold, four-legged pill cauldron gradually formed on the purple jade spirit platform. Wang Lin continuously injected his own magic power into it, causing the shadow to rapidly transform into a solid form. And during this transformation process, something very interesting happened to Lin Feng. When Wang Lin's pill cauldron condensed, most of the time it was pitch black and cold, but sometimes it would transform into the shape of white jade, crystal clear and warm, making people feel like they were bathing in a spring breeze, and then it would turn pitch black, cold and murderous. The two forms alternated and constantly changed. During this transformation process, Wang Lin's pill cauldron became more and more condensed, and it looked like it was about to completely transform into a solid form. Seeing this, Lin Feng nodded in satisfaction. Your previous hard work wasn't in vain. Little Lin's understanding of the power of creation has become deeper besides the power of nirvanic destruction. He smiled. Master will add a little more for you. Saying so, he took out the bipolar innate flower that he had won from the bet during this time's spell conference. The bipolar innate flower was a kind of spirit flower that could only be found in the heavenly lake of Snow Mountain. It contained the power of ice, fire, and life, and could communicate with heaven and earth from birth. It was the most beautiful flower, and it only bloomed once every 3,600 years. To Wang Lin, the power of ice and fire power of the bipolar innate flower wasn't very useful. What was important was the aura of life and the power of merging the two poles. Lin Feng plucked a petal from the bipolar innate flower and sent it into Wang Lin's body. It turned into a pink light and fell into the pill cauldron that Wang Lin was condensing. As if new fuel was added to the flames, the black gas around Wang Lin's pill cauldron rose even higher with a boom. Life and death, creation and nirvanic destruction, the power of the two poles continuously reversed. After a long wait, Wang Lin's pill cauldron finally completely condensed into a solid form. It was neither black nor white, but purple like the purple jade spirit platform below. The body of the cauldron was covered with mysterious runes, revealing the endless secrets of the creation of the heavens. Inside the pill cauldron, there was a black mist that kept surging like dancing flames. Inside the black mist, white specks of light would appear from time to time, looking like fireflies. Although the light was faint, it was exceptionally dazzling. At this moment, Wang Lin finally opened his eyes. There was a divine light flashing in his eyes. They were incomparably cold, but in the depths of the coldness, there was an extreme warmth. His pitch-black pupils were unfathomable. He faced Lin Feng, turned over, and kowtowed. He didn't say a word, as if everything was in silence. Lin Feng raised his palm and lifted him up. He smiled and said, "Take good care of yourself. With your previous accumulation, it won't be difficult for you to break through to the golden elixir period in one go. Disciple has the same intention. I won't disappoint master." After saying this, Wang Lin really sat down cross-legged again, and the mana in his body began to circulate again. Before, he had indeed suppressed himself. Now, he didn't want to waste even a second. Lin Feng smiled and waved his hand. A purple gas enveloped Wang Lin. This time, his core formation wasn't something that could be accomplished in a short period of time, but it shouldn't be difficult. For this moment, Wang Lin had prepared for too long. Now, it was time for him to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. Lin Feng was originally watching over Wang Lin when his heart suddenly shook. It's Little Thing and Tunton. Those two little troublemakers, what did they bring back to the mountain? Chapter 350. Xiao Budian and Tunton would often leave Yujing Mountain and wander around Kunlun Mountain. They said they were going to train and have fun. To put it bluntly, they were just two gluttons sneaking out to have a sumptuous meal to pay tribute to their 5 Viscera temple. When they encountered something delicious, they would often bring it back and enjoy it slowly. But this time, Lin Feng clearly sensed that the two of them brought back a living being that was still alive. What aroused his interest was that this living being actually contained an extremely obscure power. It was hard to detect, but the nature of the power was extremely violent. This made Lin Feng a little strange. What did these two troublemakers pick up this time? He scanned with his divine sense and saw Xiao Budian and Tunton sneaking up the mountain. They looked left and right, and when they saw that no one was paying attention to them, they sighed in relief. The two of them returned to Xiao Budian's cave abode and cautiously looked around outside the cave. After confirming that there was no one around, Xiao Budian took out his bronze void cauldron. Lin Feng saw a fiery red little fox lying silently in the three-legged cauldron. The fox's fur was bright and beautiful, like a blazing flame. Its body was well-proportioned, and its appearance was elegant. Its two small ears were protruding. Although it looked like a beast, it exuded a bewitching charm. However, the little fox was clearly in low spirits and looked sick. It lay lazily in the bronze void cauldron, narrowing its eyes and unwilling to move. It did not seem to care how Xiao Budian and Tunton would treat it next. It just lay there listlessly. It was as if as long as they did not disturb it at this moment and let it rest a little longer, it would not care if it was killed and skinned in the next moment. However, Lin Feng's eyelids twitched when he looked at the little fox. It was because there was more than one tail behind the fox's butt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 tails. The corners of Lin Feng's mouth twitched as he looked at Xiao Budian, who looked like he was about to eat. Silly boy, do you know what kind of trash you caught? As far as Lin Feng knew, the heavenly foxes of the demon race were exceptionally talented. Young fox demons at the Qi refinement stage were similar to wild foxes in that they all had a tail. However, when they advanced to demon generals, which was equivalent to the human foundation establishment stage, they would grow an extra tail. And when they formed their demon core and advanced to demon commander, their total number of tails would increase to 3. From here on out, every time the fox demon advanced a small realm, it would gain one more tail. As a result, a mid-stage demon commander would have 4 tails, a late-stage demon commander would have 5 tails, a demon king who had formed a demon nascent would have 6 tails, a mid-stage demon king would have 7 tails. As for a fox demon with 8 tails, it was equivalent to a late-stage demon king. It was only a step away from cultivating the indestructible demon soul and becoming a great sage. When a fox demon cultivates an indestructible demon soul and attains the great sage realm, its tails will grow to 9. Later, if its cultivation increases, different numbers of ring-shaped patterns will appear on its tail. The little fox lying peacefully and silently in the bronze void cauldron like a harmless pet was actually a late-stage demon king. Moreover, from its appearance, it was from the fire fox tribe of the heavenly foxes, which was also the most powerful tribe in the heavenly fox tribe. Given the little fox's strength, Jiayu and the Kuei Ox King would not be its match in a one-on-one fight. Even Kong Nanhua and Miao Shihao might not be able to defeat it. In the entire Jade Capital Mountain, only Lin Feng could subdue it. However, the fox demon's condition was clearly not very good, which was why it was silently in Xiao Budian, allowing Tunton and Xiao Budian to capture it. Lin Feng's divine sense swept out and could sense an extremely terrifying power contained in its body. This power did not belong to the fox demon itself, but an external power that had been devoured by the fox demon. However, this power was too strong, and even the demon king could not digest it. As a result, it wreaked havoc in the fox demon's body, absorbing almost all of the fox demon's energy, making it weaker than ordinary little fox demons. This was why Xiao Budian and Tunton had picked it up. This power is so familiar. Lin Feng's eyes flashed as he recognized it. This feeling is extremely similar to the true sun fire and Nanmingli fire, but it's not completely the same. Good heavens, this is also one of the 7 great true sun fires. Lin Feng was a little surprised. This is really an explosion of luck. Besides the Nanmingli fire, there's another true sun fire that has been delivered to me. It was not just Lin Feng. Xiao Budian had also discovered the problem with the fox demon. Although he was not very clear about the number of tails of the fox demon, this did not prevent him from sensing the extremely terrifying power hidden in the fox demon's body. Xiao Budian rubbed his chin. This is a little difficult. He nudged Tunton with his elbow and said, "Hey, you were the one who said this thing tastes good, so you brought it back. What do we do now?" Tunton pursed its lips. "I didn't know it would be like this in the beginning." She was a little guilty. As a member of the demon race, she knew very well what the number of tails of the fox demon represented. Xiao Budian chuckled. This fox demon's original cultivation level was probably not low to be able to suppress such a terrifying power in its body. It's just that it's like a dragon swimming in shallow water, a tiger out of a plane. Anyway, you were the one who came up with the idea to bring it back. When it dispels the foreign power in its body and recovers its cultivation, the first thing it will do is settle the score with you. The little guy smiled and looked towards the little fox. "Hey, look, am I right?" The eight-tailed little fox still narrowed its eyes and did not even bother to raise its head. At this moment, a figure flashed past the cave entrance. A person walked into the cave. It was Xiao Yan, who was about to go into seclusion. Xiao Budian and Tunton were taken aback when they saw him. Even Lin Feng was a little surprised. However, he soon realized that Xiao Yan was the one who was the most sensitive to the power of true fire on Yujing Mountain. Xiao Yan entered the cave and glanced at the little fox in the bronze void cauldron. He said unhappily, "You two are picking things up again." Xiao Budian chuckled while Tunton rolled its eyes. Xiao Yan carefully studied the eight-tailed fox and said in a deep voice, "It should have devoured one of the 7 great true fires. It's currently suffering from the backlash of the true fire, so it's in a weakened state. It's similar to my current situation. Although it doesn't have as many true fire seeds as I do, the total amount of true fire it devoured is extremely large." Xiao Yan raised his head and looked at Xiao Budian. This state is actually very dangerous. The fox's power is currently in a tug-of-war with the true fire. No matter who wins, there will be repercussions. If the true fire wins, not only will it burn to death, but it will also spread and endanger our immortal mountain. To be able to resist such powerful true fire, the original strength of this demon must be extraordinary. If it completely refines the true fire and causes trouble on the mountain, it will be troublesome. A reluctant look appeared on Xiao Budian's face. He glanced at the eight-tailed fox and sighed. "I can only leave it to Master to deal with, but it's such a pity." Xiao Yan snapped, "What's there to pity? You're not young anymore. Don't think about eating all day long." At this moment, Lin Feng's voice sounded in the air. "I already know what happened, but there's no need to worry. I'll leave this fox to the two of you. I'll be the first to know if anything happens on Yujing Mountain." Xiao Yan and Xiao Budian responded in unison. Lin Feng then said, "Tunton, come here. I have something to ask you." Tunton immediately shrank its head guiltily. Before it could refuse, a gust of purple chi surged out of the air and swept it directly in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng calmly looked at it, while Tunton's expression was a little unnatural as it lowered its head to look at its feet. "Do you know this fox demon?" Lin Feng's voice was very calm, but it was like a clap of thunder in Tunton's ears. It subconsciously wanted to deny it, but in the face of Lin Feng's calm eyes, it immediately deflated like a balloon and nodded bitterly. Lin Feng indifferently asked, "Tell me, what's the fox demon's background?" Tunton listlessly said, "That's an eight-tailed fox demon with advanced demon king cultivation. She belongs to the Fire Fox clan of the Sky Fox clan and is called Hu Yanyan. She has an honorific title, Fire Fox Monarch. Even among advanced demon kings, she stands at the peak of the demon king realm and is only one step away from achieving an indestructible demon soul. She's one of the Sky Fox Saint's daughters and is also the most doted on by the Sky Fox Saint. She's one of the few ruthless characters in Qingqiu Mountain and is famous throughout the entire Tianhuang continent. She's almost a top genius of the demon world on the same level as Demon King Long Yi, the successor of the Enchantress." At this point, Tunton curled its lips. "She's also Hu Fan's greatest backer and often supports her." From her expression, Lin Feng could tell that Tunton was a demon king in the past and must have suffered quite a bit at Hu Yanyan's hands when she went to find trouble with Hu Fen. I don't know what's the reason this time, but she actually devoured a large amount of true fire power and became so weak. Tunton said gloatingly, of course I'm going to take this opportunity to take revenge. Lin Feng smiled. How do you plan to take revenge? Tunton didn't even think about it and said, of course. It opened its mouth, but couldn't continue. If it could, it definitely wanted to swallow Hu Yanyan in one gulp to vent the anger in its heart. But when it thought of the terrifying true fire power that even Hu Yanyan was tormented half to death, Tunton instantly felt guilty. But I can't let her get away with it. Tunton retorted, its two large eyes rolling. My mother just happens to be missing a fox skin scarf. Lin Feng was both angry and amused. Let's talk about it after I deal with the true fire power in her body. After sending the still indignant Tunton away, Lin Feng pondered, I should find some time to investigate and see what kind of true fire is in that demon fox's body. While Lin Feng was thinking about this matter, his expression suddenly changed. After confirming that Wang Lin's cultivation would not be disturbed, Lin Feng quickly flew into the mysterious Heaven-Time Light Utopia. There, the young girl who had been carrying a huge sword case on her back and circling around the mysterious Heaven Treasure Tree had disappeared. Only the huge sword case was left standing on the ground below the treasure tree, constantly vibrating and emitting waves of mournful cries. Chapter 351. When Lin Feng first entered the mysterious Heaven-Time Light Cave, there were already 3 natives in the cave. One was a fat yellow baby that was constantly crying. Later, Lin Feng learned that it was a spirit monster manifested from the Heavenly Luck Spirit Soil, the Heavenly Luck Spirit Soil. It could be said that the Heavenly Luck Spirit Soil was the most suitable spirit soil for cultivating all kinds of plants in the world. However, it was not easy to get the Heavenly Luck Spirit Soil to work. The little guy was very picky, and only the 7 great true fires could arouse its appetite and stimulate its spiritual power. In addition, there was also a sloppy old man who was constantly playing chess with himself. His chessboard was a completely different world, and anyone who entered it would unconsciously fall into a deep sleep. Previously, Xiao Budian and Xiao Yan had inadvertently been trapped inside, and Lin Feng had spent a lot of effort to bring them out. The last one was the young girl who had been carrying a giant sword case and constantly walking around the small mysterious Heaven Treasure Tree in the cave. Compared to the young girl's thin and weak figure, the sword case was 20 to 30 meters tall, as large as a small mountain. The young girl carried the sword case on her back, looking like an ant moving a mountain. It looked comical, but it also had a shocking power. At this moment, the young girl had disappeared, leaving only the giant sword case that was the size of a small mountain standing on the ground, constantly shaking. There was a faint mournful cry coming from the sword case, as if something was trying to break free and rush out of the sword case. Lin Feng's expression was calm as he came to the side of the sword case. Silently, he looked up at the giant sword case in front of him, feeling the violent and sharp fluctuations of power coming from it. Roar! A loud roar that seemed to come from ancient times suddenly came from the sword case, resounding throughout the vast mysterious Heaven-Time Light Cave, as if a sleeping giant beast had suddenly awakened at this moment. Lin Feng's pupils shrank slightly. From the roar, he felt a heart-palpitating cruelty and tyranny, as if it was filled with endless thoughts of destruction and slaughter. The source of the roar represented the most terrifying disaster in the world. Destruction, slaughter, annihilation. The most violent and tyrannical beast in the world was preparing to escape from its cage and reappear in the world. The mechanism at the top of the sword case was opened with a rumble, and a cold, clear light appeared in mid-air, instantly illuminating half of the sky in the mysterious Heaven-Time Light Paradise with a terrifying cyan color, causing fear and despair to arise in the hearts of those who looked at it. In the grotto heaven, under the treasured tree, the old man who was playing chess with himself finally reacted to something outside the chessboard. He raised his head and looked in the direction of the sword case with a blank expression. On the other hand, Tian Chihua had already hid behind the treasure tree, curled into a ball and shivered. Even the branches and leaves of the mysterious sky treasure tree were trembling non-stop. In the void of the infinite worlds, it was as if a great will had withdrawn and was paying attention to the sudden changes happening around him. At the top of the scabbard, a giant sword was slowly emerging. Lin Feng frowned, because he discovered that this giant sword was actually covered in rust. No matter if it was the sword hilt or the sword blade, they were all wrapped in a layer of thick and colorful rust. The entire sword was like a large iron bar made entirely of rust, without the slightest sense of sharpness of a normal sword. However, this rusty sword contained terrifying power. Among the opponents that Lin Feng had faced before, only the 9 glory sky collapsing formation could give him the same kind of pressure. When 2/3 of the rusty giant sword had risen out of the sword case, Lin Feng's heart suddenly tightened. Almost subconsciously, he opened the bulwark umbrella. The next moment, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly widened because he saw that the blade of the giant sword, which was about 1/3 of its length near the tip, was not rusty at all. It was flashing with a clear, wave-like light, and at the same time, it was also the source of the terrifying power of the giant sword. An incomparably sharp feeling rushed toward him. It was far sharper and more terrifying than any sword that Lin Feng had encountered before. Where the sword flashed, it seemed as if it could directly cut through the blue sky and pierce through the heavens. The clear light flashed in front of Lin Feng, and the giant sword had already flown in front of him. Fortunately, Lin Feng had opened the bulwark umbrella in advance. Otherwise, with such a fast speed, he would not have been able to react in time with his current cultivation. The giant black umbrella shook like never before, and it was almost shaken out of Lin Feng's hands. There was an ear-piercing grinding sound on the surface of the umbrella. But in the end, the giant sword was unable to break through the defense of the bulwark umbrella and was shaken back. But Lin Feng's heart sank slightly. What kind of sword is this? Lin Feng was shocked. It's like a sword that's only 1/3 out of its scabbard, and it's already so powerful. If I let it shed all the rust, how powerful would it be? At this time, a layer of understanding rose in Lin Feng's heart. This sword should be an extremely fierce magic treasure, fierce and powerful to the point that even I can't completely understand it right now, but it's still a magic treasure that hasn't truly been refined completely. That girl with the sword on her back is the manifestation of the sword spirit of this giant sword. She was actually training herself by walking around the treasured tree one round after another. Although it was only a guess, Lin Feng felt that his conjecture couldn't be wrong. Now that the blade is 1/3 out of its scabbard, she can't wait any longer. Lin Feng carefully examined this sword, suddenly noticing that there was still a bit of rust on the part of the sword tip that was like a pool of autumn water, as if there were impurities mixed into the pure crystal, making people feel unhappy looking at it. This might be an opportunity. Lin Feng's heart slightly moved, suddenly putting away the bulwark umbrella. The moment the bulwark umbrella disappeared, the giant sword's ferocity surged again. The tip of the sword was aimed at Lin Feng, ready to strike. Lin Feng took a deep breath, raised his right hand, and suddenly made a clenching motion toward the giant sword. The space in front of the giant sword shattered, turning into a turbulent flow of earth, water, fire, and wind that rushed toward the giant sword. But Lin Feng didn't want to counterattack. The target of his spell was the remaining rust on the tip of the giant sword. Under the bombardment of Lin Feng's spell, the rust on the tip of the sword disappeared. From the tip down, about 1/3 of the length of the blade became perfect, no longer affected by the rust. The ferocity and killing intent of the entire sword rose to another level, and it rushed toward the entire dark sky time light grotto heaven. At this moment, even the branches and leaves of the mysterious sky treasure tree seemed to be blown by a strong wind, and some of the leaves even fell from the branches under the sword light. But after the power of the sword rose, the killing intent of the giant sword gradually faded, until finally, it even calmed down. 1/3 of the giant sword flashed with a clear light, and 2/3 of the rusty giant sword flew back to the top of the sword case. The tip of the sword rushed down and slowly returned to the sword case. When the giant sword was completely returned to the sword case, there was a muffled bang. The mechanism above the sword case sounded again, and it closed again. The sword case returned to its closed state. Seeing this, Lin Feng let out a long breath. I won the bet. My guess was correct. The giant sword fell into a frenzy, like a fierce beast coming out of its cage. To a large extent, it was because it was cleaning the rust on the first 1/3 of the blade, but it was still missing the last bit. The giant sword returned to the sword case, and the terrifying sword energy disappeared without a trace. The dark sky time light grotto heaven returned to its calm state. Dozens of silver chains protruded from the surface of the sword case, intertwining and dancing in the air. The chains were very thin, and compared to the giant sword case that was nearly 30 meters tall, they were like dozens of silver threads. The figure of the girl carrying the sword case appeared in the air again. She was still expressionless, and dozens of silver chains wrapped around her body, instantly pulling the weight of the sword case. The girl carried the sword case on her back, and her feet landed on the ground with a heavy thud. Then, step by step, she began to walk around the treasure tree again. Her footsteps were extremely heavy, and her speed was slow. However, each step was extremely stable, and there was an unstoppable, unshakable feeling that she would never stop moving forward. Seeing this scene, the old man who was playing chess by himself under the treasure tree withdrew his slightly dazed gaze and lowered his head again to stare at the chessboard in front of him with a dull expression. The chess pieces on the originally motionless chessboard began to move again. Meanwhile, the chihuahua cautiously poked its head out from behind the branches. Seeing that the tenant under the same roof had finally returned to her original appearance, the heartless little thing quickly reverted to its old ways. It jumped under the tree, lay down on the ground, and directly began to snore. Lin Feng shook his head and laughed. He turned around to look at the sword-carrying girl again and raised his eyebrows slightly. She looks much older than before. Before today, no matter how much time had passed in the dark sky time light grotto heaven, this sword-carrying girl's appearance had not changed at all. She was still the same as when Lin Feng had first seen her. She looked extremely thin and weak, and she looked no more than 11 or 12 years old. However, at this moment, she looked much taller. Although she still looked thin, she was clearly 14 or 15 years old. Lin Feng clicked his tongue in wonder. This is interesting, but I wonder if this sword was naturally formed or forged by someone else. Right now, I still don't have full confidence in obtaining this sword, but at least I've sowed some good karma today. Perhaps it will come in handy in the future. Lin Feng exited the dark sky time light grotto heaven and thought to himself, with the bulwark umbrella, I don't have to worry about defense. If I have the chance to obtain and refine this sword, my offensive power will instantly go through the roof. Just thinking about it makes me yearn for it. But how can I obtain this strange sword? As he was thinking, Lin Feng's nose suddenly twitched, and he smelled a delicate fragrance. This smell. Lin Feng's forehead was full of black lines, and he kept wailing in his heart. He turned around and saw a young man wearing a violet robe with golden edges. His facial features were incomparably exquisite, but his temperament was extremely feminine and enchanting. There was no other man who could be so charming and yet act as if there was no one else around except Miao Shihao. Oh, sect master, you've been back for so long, but you didn't even inform me. It's really heartbreaking. As soon as they met, Miao Shihao's first words almost caused Lin Feng to punch his jade-like face. Chapter 352. Shihao, why are you looking for me? Lin Feng roughly knew how to deal with Miao Shihao now. When he was being funny, the best way to deal with it was to change the topic and not get entangled with him. If you were to argue with Miao Shihao, he would immediately climb up the pole and become crazier and crazier. If you were to glare at him angrily, he would not take it seriously and would even imagine that you were flirting with him. In his eyes, it was a kind of fun. Therefore, at this time, it was better to change the topic and talk about business. Even though Miao Shihao's appearance was very indecent, Lin Feng could still tell from his gaze that Miao Shihao came over this time because he had something to discuss with him. Miao Shihao pursed his lips and rolled his eyes at Lin Feng rather sadly, causing Lin Feng to have goosebumps all over again. I saw the fox demon that Tianhao and the others picked up. Miao Shihao made a orchid shape with his right hand and flirtatiously played with the hair beside his ear. Eight-tailed fox demon, the strength of a late-stage demon king and a fire fox. If she was at her peak, even I would not be a match for her. If I can advance to late-stage Yuanying and cultivate the heaven and earth avatar, I will be able to fight her. Lin Feng nodded. According to Tunten, this demon is called Fox Yan and is rather famous in Tianhuang mainland. Her honorific title is Fire Fox King and she is the nine-tailed fox's most beloved daughter. Miao Shihao gently raised his brows. So it's her. I have heard of the name Fox Yan. She is a rising star of the demon race in the past 1,000 years and is as famous as the enchantress's disciple, Long Yi. As he was speaking, Miao Shihao's expression suddenly changed, using a scrutinizing attitude, his gaze continuously sizing up Lin Feng, his gaze rather unfriendly. Lin Feng was confused. What the hell are you doing now? Miao Shihao said with a serious expression, Sect Master, don't tell me you have been bewitched by that fox demon. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. What nonsense is this? Sect leader, you don't know. Miao Shihao's face revealed an expression of relief. His entire person was much more relaxed, but he still asked Lin Feng cautiously, Sect Master, how much do you know about this fox flame? Lin Feng frowned slightly. I know nothing about her before today. Everything I know about her is from Tunten. What's wrong? Is there something wrong with her? It's a big problem. Miao Shihao lowered his head and muttered, but when he raised his head to look at Lin Feng, he had already regained his flirtatious look and smiled, no problem, it's just a small matter. It doesn't matter if Sect Master doesn't know about it. He muttered, that fox demon is heavily injured and definitely can't transform into human form. Then there's no problem. It's best if you don't know, it's best if you don't know. It's best if you never know. Lin Feng walked up to him. What is it that we should never know? Nothing. Miao Shihao chuckled. Seeing that Lin Feng was not fooled and was calmly staring at him, Miao Shihao couldn't help but feel a little guilty. He pursed his lips and suddenly said, Sect Master, the main reason I came to find you this time is about that bunch of uncouth people from Taishu Temple. Lin Feng stared coldly at Miao Shihao. Miao Shihao was no longer flirtatious and looked extremely serious. But it was because of this that Lin Feng knew that this bastard was deliberately changing the topic. What's the situation? Tell me. Lin Feng rolled his eyes and did not pursue the matter. Instead, he followed Miao Shihao's words. Miao Shihao breathed a sigh of relief and said, news from inside Taishu Temple said that Pang Jia has relinquished his position as the world wayfarer and is focusing on closed-door cultivation on White Cloud Mountain. He paused for a moment before continuing, from the looks of it, he seems to have broken through some kind of bottleneck and wants to use this opportunity to break through to the primordial soul stage. Lin Feng looked up at the sky and said, just as I expected, the core successor of Taishu Temple was indeed not an ordinary person. Back then, when he was badly injured at the foot of Jade Capital Mountain outside Shazhou City, Pang Jia seemed to have lost his heroic reputation. But only he could weigh the gains and losses clearly in his heart. Who's the successor as the world wayfarer of Taoism? Lin Feng continued to ask, it can't be Yan Mingyue's second entry into the palace. She can gain something in other places, but she won't regain her position as the world wayfarer of Taoism. Although in the eyes of the world, she's still the saintess of Taishu Temple, she can only be in name but not in name. Miao Shihao nodded with conviction and covered his mouth with a smile. Sect Master, you really have a divine foresight. Although Yan Mingyue has returned to White Cloud Mountain, she hasn't taken over her position as the world wayfarer of Taoism. I'm not sure what arrangements Taishu Temple has for her. As for the new world wayfarer of Taoism. Miao Shihao's expression turned serious and he said slowly, Brother Shihao, I don't have any specific information either, but there's one thing I'm sure of. The New World Wayfarer of Taoism is not born from the new generation of disciples in Taishu Temple. He's not a junior of Yan Mingyue and Pang Jia, but at least his senior and junior brother of the same generation, or even earlier. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Oh. Is he a conservative or a radical? Miao Shihao answered with certainty, he's a conservative, no doubt about that. Lin Feng did not speak, his thoughts drifting. Logically speaking, Pang Jia had voluntarily given up his position as the world wayfarer. It would not be a problem if the radical faction he belonged to sent someone else to replace him. After all, Pang Jia did not make any obvious mistakes, so he did not take the blame and resign. In fact, to a certain extent, he had been tricked by Yan Mingyue. However, the conservative faction had sent someone to take over Pang Jia's position. Either there had been a major change in the inner circle of Taishu Temple, and the conservatives had completely overwhelmed the radicals, or both parties had reached some kind of exchange of interests and compromise. Lin Feng smiled. This new world wayfarer of Taoism is quite mysterious, but he'll have to show himself in front of the world eventually. Miao Shihao nodded. That's right. About that fox demon. Lin Feng changed the topic, suddenly returning to the previous topic. Miao Shihao's expression changed slightly. He looked up to the sky and laughed. Well, sect leader, I suddenly remembered that I haven't been sleeping well these days, so I'm going back to catch up on my sleep. Take your time, take your time. After saying that, he turned and left without waiting for Lin Feng to speak. Brother Shihao looked like he was leisurely twisting his hips, but in fact, he looked like he was fleeing. Lin Feng almost laughed out loud. Little guy, do you think I can't teach you a lesson? Shihao, you're still trying to show off. Lin Feng was in a good mood after finally finding a good way to get rid of Miao Shihao. Moreover, even without Miao Shihao, he still had a way to find out more about Fox Flame. What is Miao Shihao trying to hide? Lin Feng was puzzled. He looked for Tunton and asked, about Fox Flame, apart from the information you provided last time, is there anything special about it? Tunton was a native of the demon race in Infinite Wasteland, so it definitely knew more about the demon race than Miao Shihao. Moreover, it was not on good terms with the Heavenly Fox clan. As the saying went, the person who understood you the most was often your enemy. In Lin Feng's opinion, it was most appropriate to ask Tunton directly if he had any questions about the Heavenly Fox clan. Who knew that when Tunton heard this, it was first stunned, then a look of realization appeared on its face. After carefully sizing up Lin Feng for a while, it directly gave him a pair of big eyes. Humph, on the surface you act like a gentleman, in reality you males are all the same. Lin Feng could not make heads or tails of her scolding. He was so angry that he grabbed Tunton's little head and lifted it into the air. You lass, if you don't get spanked for 3 days, you'll tear the tiles off the roof. Looks like you're itching for a beating again, right? Let go. Let me down. Tunton flailed its arms and legs in the air, struggling non-stop. Looking at Lin Feng, its little face was filled with disdain. Did I say something wrong? If you didn't fancy Fox Flame, why are you so anxious to find out about her? It's fine if the demon race revolves around her, but you humans are also so shallow. You've been bewitched by her flirtatious charm. Lin Feng was not angry when he heard this. He accurately grasped the key point in Tunton's words. You just said, you humans. What's with this you humans? Tunton was stunned and stopped struggling. It looked curiously at Lin Feng. Why, you don't know. Lin Feng placed her on the ground, smiling. I know of her existence, and I found out from your mouth. Have you forgotten? That's right. Tunton slapped its head and turned to look at Lin Feng. Also, Fox Flame is so weak now that she can't even transform into her human form. You definitely haven't seen her in her human form. Lin Feng shook his head and laughed. In other words, if I had seen her, I would definitely be bewitched. Tunton very seriously said, Hu Yanyan's honorific title is Flame Fox King, but in the Heaven Wasteland vast land, the majority of the demon race, especially the male demon race, privately call her Beautiful Fox King. Hu Yanyan is publicly acknowledged as the #1 beauty of the demon race, and her beauty has spread throughout the entire heaven wasteland vast land. If all the demon race that went to Qingqiu Mountain to seek marriage were to gather together, they could flatten Qingqiu Mountain with one stomp from each of them. Lin Feng was a little surprised. More beautiful than Long Yi? Tunton curled its lips. According to the aesthetics of you humans, it should be about the same. But according to the demon race, Long Ye's true form is a mythical jade tree. She can't compare to the heavenly fox bewitching fox. She glanced at Lin Feng. In the past, Hu Yanyan transformed into a human form and came to the human world. She once attracted the admiration of a prince with primordial soul cultivation in the Great Qin dynasty. After being rejected by Hu Yanyan, he directly tried to snatch her away. It was the great saint of the heavenly fox who personally descended upon the vast land of the divine prefecture that Hu Yanyan safely returned. This even became a legend in the infinite wilderness, spreading Fox Flame's beauty even further. At the same time, she also became the most famous beauty of the demon race in the divine land. After listening with interest, Lin Feng said with a smile, "Then I should thank you for picking her back." Tunton did not say anything, snorting and turning its head away. "You males are all so shallow. A little girl who only thinks about mating with males all day has no right to say I'm shallow." Lin Feng smiled and shook his head. His heart moved slightly. Turning around, he saw the little one approaching him with a strange expression. After bowing, the little one spoke with a rather strange voice. "Master, that demon fox had been pretending to be dead and not moving. Just now, she suddenly reacted and said she wanted to see you." Chapter 353. Lin Feng followed Xiao Budian into a cave. Right now there were two people sitting in the cave, facing each other awkwardly. To be precise, it was a human and a demon. One of them was a young man in a purple robe. It was Lin Feng's eldest disciple, Xiao Yan, while the other person was Hu Yanyan. "Oh. She can transform into human form. She refined the true fire faster than I expected. It seems that her cultivation talent is indeed at the level of a super genius." This was the first thought that appeared in Lin Feng's mind after seeing Hu Yanyan. But then, he knew why Miao Shihao and Tunton had that kind of misunderstanding before. It was because Hu Yanyan, who had transformed into human form, was truly a peerless beauty. In all fairness, Long Yi and Yan Mingyue, as well as Xiao Yan's childhood sweetheart, Xiao Zhen, were on the same level as Hu Yanyan in terms of appearance, but their beauty was more gentle and reserved. Even Long Yi, who was also a demon, was the same. On the other hand, Hu Yanyan's beauty was soul-stirring, filled with the most direct and primitive impact. Her face was perfect without the slightest blemish, as if it was the most outstanding work of the heavens. Her curvaceous body was extremely alluring. Her expression was cold and indifferent, slightly diluting some of her natural charm and bewitchment. However, she had a different kind of cool temperament, which made it easier for men to be moved by her. She was only wearing a fiery red fur coat. The places that should be covered were all covered, but there was still a large area of white jade-like skin exposed. Half covered and half covered, it was even more alluring. Lin Feng turned his head and glanced at Xiao Yan. He saw that he was extremely embarrassed, and felt uncomfortable wherever he put his hand. It was indeed difficult for a young man and a young woman to be together with such an alluring beauty. Xiao Yan had a strange expression on his face. His gaze shifted back and forth between his eldest senior brother and Hu Yanyan, filled with curiosity. His strange gaze made Xiao Yan wish he could find a hole to burrow into. Lin Feng looked at Hu Yanyan and asked, "You asked to see me?" Hu Yanyan raised her head and looked at Lin Feng. Her gaze was cold as she nodded. "Are you the master of the celestial sect of wonders? Junior Hu Yanyan greets you." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he looked into her eyes. After a while, he nodded slightly. "It seems that your nature is indeed cold." It's just that you are born in the Celestial Fox clan and have good talent and natural charm. Embarrassment and annoyance flashed through Hu Yanyan's eyes for a moment, remembering many unpleasant memories. But when she looked at Lin Feng's eyes, she discovered that Lin Feng's eyes were clear and did not have those dirty thoughts that she was used to seeing. Hu Yanyan was silent for a moment. Then, she said calmly, "Senior, please understand. There are many things that I do not wish for." Lin Feng nodded. He suddenly raised his hand, and a purple aura enveloped the fox flame. Hu Yanyan was shocked, but then she realized that Lin Feng's power was not restricting her. He was searching for the changes in her demon power. Lin Feng's divine sense quickly found his target in Hu Yanyan's body. It was a dark demonic fire full of ominous meaning. It was like an abyss disaster. Mysterious heaven tribulation flame. It is indeed one of the 7 great true fires, the spiritual fire. Lin Feng followed the system's instructions and immediately identified the fire that was wreaking havoc in Hu Yanyan's body. It was one of the 7 great true fires in the world, the mysterious heaven tribulation flame. The mysterious heaven tribulation flame was black in color. It was a demonic fire that was on par with the blue-purple netherworld evil flame. Every time it appeared, it would bring about a catastrophe. This kind of true fire was used to devouring and burning everything to strengthen itself. Not only could it devour cultivators' magic power and demon power, but it could also devour the other 6 supreme true fires if there were many of them. According to legend, the Heaven Pool sect's Ice Essence Flame art was created by a nascent divinity almighty cultivator of the Heaven Pool sect after he accidentally witnessed the power of the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame and comprehended the Ice Essence Flame in the Heaven Pool of Snow Mountain. The Ice Essence incineration technique was able to use the opponent's Fa Li as fuel to strengthen the might of the spiritual flame transformed from one's own Fa Li. But this kind of devouring and burning was only temporary. After the technique stopped, the Fa Li flames would extinguish along with it, and the opponent's burnt Fa Li would vanish into thin air. However, the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame could devour the opponent's magic power and use it to strengthen itself. This effect was permanent. This made the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame extremely overbearing. As long as there was a spark, it could expand endlessly until it became a monstrous fire. In a sense, the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame was more troublesome than the Netherworld Evil Flame. However, the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame in Hu Yanyan's body seemed to have changed. It was in a semi-dormant state. The power of the true fire had been fighting against Hu Yanyan's demon power, but it hadn't displayed its most terrifying devouring ability. This discovery made Lin Feng click his tongue in wonder. Generally speaking, the most troublesome problem for people who want to control the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame is that refining it requires one's own magic power. But if you use your own magic power to refine it, you'll be devoured by it. If they failed to refine it, their magic power would become fuel for the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame, making it stronger and stronger. As a result, it became more and more difficult to refine. It was an endless cycle. That was why very few people had been able to control the mysterious Heaven Tribulation Flame. Lin Feng withdrew his magic power and divine sense. Hu Yanyan pursed her lips and didn't say anything. "Do you want to contact the Sky Fox Sage?" Lin Feng asked lightly. Hu Yanyan nodded. "That's right. I hope Senior will allow it." Without Lin Feng's permission, even if Hu Yanyan had a voice transmission crystal, she wouldn't be able to establish contact with the outside world. "Sure, do as you please." Lin Feng willed and the mana barrier covering Jade Capital Mountain opened up a path towards Fox Flame Net. Hu Yanyan thanked Lin Feng and immediately crushed the sound transmission crystal, contacting her mother, the Sky Fox Great Sage. After the call went through, a calm voice came from the other side. "Yanyan, where are you now?" This voice was flat and stiff. It was hard to imagine that it belonged to the Sky Fox Sage who had bewitched the world. Hu Yanyan was said to be the most beautiful woman of the demon race because not many people dared to fantasize about the Sky Fox Sage, one of the 10 sages of the demon race. The Sky Fox Sage, also known as the Nine-Tailed Sage, was the ancestor of the Sky Fox race. Together with Long Ye's master, the Enchantress, Tuntun's father, Taotai Sage, and the Golden Crow Sage, they were known as the 10 Sages of the demon race. They were peerless demons who stood at the top of Tianhuang continent. Although this demon wasn't known for being sharp in fights of magical powers, she had many divine abilities and was a top expert of the demon race. The flat and stiff voice continued, "Did you suffer?" Hu Yanyan briefly explained how she obtained the mysterious heavenly tribulation flame and described her current situation. She didn't say much about how Tiny Tot and Tuntun had picked her up. The Sky Fox Sage fell into a brief silence. "Yan, how much longer will it take for you to refine the mysterious heavenly tribulation flame?" Hu Yanyan glanced at Lin Feng and the others and said slowly, "I don't know, but it won't be a short time." The Sky Fox Sage was silent for a moment before she said to Lin Feng, "Sect Master Lin, my daughter is currently trapped by the mysterious heavenly tribulation flame and can't move freely. I can't bring her back to Tianhuang continent in the near future." Lin Feng's expression didn't change and he didn't respond. He knew that the Sky Fox Sage must have something else to say. "I heard that Sect Master Lin has the daughter of the heaven-devouring Taotai with you and helped her reconstruct her physical body. I have no choice but to ask Sect Master Lin for help." Slowly, the Sky Fox Sage said, "I would like to ask Sect Master Lin to allow Hu Yanyan to stay with you for a period of time. I hope Sect Master Lin can agree." Sect Master Lin's disciple cultivates the true Sun Fire and the Nether Evil Emperor Fire. I believe Sect Master Lin has studied the power of true fire. I hope Sect Master Lin can give my daughter some pointers and help her refine the mysterious heavenly tribulation flame. The Sky Fox Sage finally said, "After my daughter refines the mysterious heavenly tribulation flame, I will naturally give half of the fire source to your sect. In addition, I also have something else to thank you. I hope Sect Master Lin can help me." Lin Feng didn't immediately answer. A look of surprise flashed across Hu Yanyan's indifferent face, but she quickly regained her indifference. "Okay." Lin Feng gave it a definite answer after some thought. Silently, the Sky Fox Sage said, "Thank you, Sect Master Lin. I thank you in advance." Then, she said to Hu Yanyan, "Yan, focus on your cultivation. Return to Green Hill after refining the mysterious heavenly tribulation flame." Hu Yanyan replied coldly, "I understand." The communication ended there. Lin Feng glanced at Xiao Yan and said casually, "I'll leave it to you." Xiao Yan was stunned. Then, with a pained expression, he secretly sent a message to Lin Feng using his mana. "Master, can you find someone else to do this?" Lin Feng looked at him with a faint smile. "What, afraid that you can't control yourself? It might be better if it were any other time." Xiao Yan smiled bitterly. "But in my current state, it's not just my mana that has fallen to rock bottom. Even my mental fortitude is very poor because I have to fight against the 3 true fires in my body at all times." Lin Feng smiled saying, "That's perfect, it's precisely in this kind of situation that you can more effectively train your temperament and mental fortitude. With this kind of beauty by your side you can also calm your mind, your mental fortitude can be considered to have been trained to perfection. Little Yen, work hard. Don't forget that you still have your childhood sweetheart waiting for you. How are you going to meet her in the future if you go wild now?" Xiao Yan was tongue-tied. "Master, you're tricking me on purpose." "Wrong, I'm training you." Lin Feng smiled wickedly, thinking, "You're nothing. Take me for example. I've been through the test of many battlefields in my previous life, which is why I can be so calm now. Unlike you, your crotch is about to have a reaction. Aren't you afraid that the girl will see it as a joke?" Patting Xiao Yan's shoulder, Lin Feng said, "All right, after settling the new guest, we'll go straight to the Tower of Scriptures." He turned his head towards the little guy and said, "Follow your master." The second-generation disciples that entered the sect have already established their foundations under your second senior brother's guidance. Chapter 354. Leaving behind Xiao Yan with a bitter smile and facing Fox Yan Yan alone, Lin Feng leisurely left with Xiao Budian. Not long ago, Zhu Yi had already returned to Yujing Mountain and brought back the official document he used for the examination. After returning to the mountain, Zhu Yi once again took over the important responsibility of teaching the second-generation disciples from Kang Nanhua. With the abundant spiritual qi on Jade Capital Mountain, the group of young geniuses made rapid progress in their cultivation. Their improvement was gratifying. Zhu Yi was not around, but no one relaxed. After returning to the mountain, Zhu Yi tested them one by one on their cultivation methods. The results mostly satisfied him. Lin Feng was also very satisfied. If we continue to develop like this, the foundation of the sect will become more and more stable. Other than the cultivation of the disciples, the internal construction of the sect must also keep up. Working hard at the Wilderness Sea Assembly, raising one's reputation, establishing one's own status, and helping Xianmen Tianzong occupy a place in the structure of the entire heaven primal world was an important step in the development of the sect. As the external construction progressed, the internal construction naturally had to keep up. Both sides progressed together, and the development of the entire sect would continue to progress. Arriving at the top of the mountain, under the mysterious heaven treasure tree, in front of the 3-story hidden scripture tower, Lin Feng leisurely walked in, and Xiao Budian followed behind him with a smile. Zhu Yi, Yu Hongyan, and Yang Qing, who had received Lin Feng's Transcendence Energy voice transmission, also arrived one after another. The last to arrive was Xiao Yan. Wang Lin did not come. This was Lin Feng's special permission. He was currently in seclusion, hoping to form the golden elixir in one go. Under the protection of Lin Feng's Transcendence Energy, he had already been sent into the mysterious Heaven's Time Cave. Lin Feng stood in the center of the Scripture Tower's library and said with a smile, "I believe you all already know the characteristics of the Scripture Tower." Xiao Yan and the rest nodded their heads. They knew that although the bookshelves on the first floor of the library were empty, they could be filled up manually. As long as one used one's transcendence energy to store the Tao Technique mnemonic chant, the library would be able to automatically generate a Tao Technique manual. The speed was determined by the amount of transcendence energy provided by the caster. Moreover, even if it was an incomplete Tao art fragment, this level of the library was capable of automatically completing it and deducing the complete technique. In the future, if the disciples of Xianmen Tianzong were to obtain the Tao arts of other sects, even if it was only a part of it, they would be able to deduce and restore the whole picture. Right now the library still seems very thin. There are only a dozen or so Tao Technique books like the 9 Heavens Thunder Technique and the Art of Akala. But as time passes and accumulates, in the future it is very likely that this place will become the place with the most profound preservation of Tao techniques in the world. Today, I'll give you some homework. Lin Feng said with a slight smile, using our sect's fundamental Tao technique, the 8 trigrams book of the Great Tao of the Heavens as the foundation, combine it with your own comprehension of Tao techniques and the laws of the world, each of you will deduce an independent Tao technique manual. It doesn't need to be too profound, it doesn't need to be too complicated, as long as it sufficiently clarifies the principles that you have comprehended in your own cultivation. Lin Feng looked at his disciples with a smile. "Don't think that I'm using you all to do hard labor, this is actually a cultivation that is of great benefit to you all, it is the same for each and every one of you." Right now Xiao Linzi is busy forming his Azoth core and is at a crucial juncture, so he won't be with you all for now. But once he successfully forms his Azoth core and comes out of seclusion, he will also have to take this step. Zhu Yi hurriedly said, "Disciples naturally understand Master's painstaking efforts. In the process of deriving and creating Tao technique manuals, it is a summary and sorting out of our own Tao techniques and concepts. If we take this step well, it will naturally be twice the result with half the effort in our future cultivation." Xiao Yan also nodded his head. This is a type of precipitation. At the same time as summarizing, it can also allow us to examine ourselves and find the areas that we missed out on in our previous cultivation process. The little guy's eyes swiveled and he said with a smile, "Master, is there a time limit for completing this matter?" Lin Feng looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. There is no time limit. Once the Tao technique is derived, then you can leave this library. Ah. The little guy was instantly a bit dumbfounded. Looking at his appearance, the others all had faces of disdain. Thinking about your food again? The little guy said snappily, what? Which is more important and which is more important, I can clearly distinguish it. There is no hurry to eat delicious food. But the key is that if I stay in the library and can't get out, Tunton that fellow will eat all the family property that I have worked hard to save up. He doesn't know what is polite. The little guy hurriedly said to Lin Feng, Master, during the time I am in the library, can you also find a place to lock Tunton up? Everyone laughed in unison, even Lin Feng did not know whether to laugh or cry. He patted the little guy's little head, don't worry, Master will look after it for you. After joking around, Lin Feng's tone became much more serious. Most of you have already reached a certain level of understanding of our sect's Tao techniques, and the second-generation disciples also have an initial foundation under Xiaoyi's guidance. So, after you have sorted out and summarized your own cultivation of Tao techniques, Master will arrange for the most outstanding people among the second-generation disciples to join your sect and become your inner disciples. Xiao Yan and the others looked at each other. Zhu Yi and Yu Hongyan's expressions were as usual. Xiao Yan and the little guy both smiled, feeling that it was quite interesting, and Yang Qing was a little nervous. Slowly, Lin Feng said, Master will not forcibly decide who will become your inner disciples. Who you will be fated to be your master and disciple, how many people you will be fated to be your master and disciple, it all depends on the interaction between you and them. Today, I asked you to derive and figure out Tao techniques, in fact, is to let you each prepare teaching materials for future disciples, lest you mislead them. Lin Feng said with a smile, your inner disciples, in the Qi refinement stage, can practice your own Tao techniques, and can also practice Xiaoyi's Zi Ba Gua Tao scripture annotation. There is no rule for this. However, if any of your inner disciples have cultivated to the foundation establishment stage, then the Zi Ba Gua Tao scripture annotation cannot be used. At that time, it will all depend on your own Tao techniques. The little guy said with a smile, second senior brother's annotation is the most suitable annotation for Qi refinement stage disciples. I don't think there is a need to replace it. Lin Feng said, for each and every one of you, Master's motto has always been that the Master leads the way, cultivation is up to the individual. So when you guys derive and create Tao techniques, the most important thing is to summarize the deepest comprehension of the Tao of heaven and earth in your cultivation. What Master wants is for 100 flowers to bloom, to compete for beauty, not 1,000 people, to be the same. All the disciples said yes. Yang Qing hesitated a little, looked at Yu Hongyan, and did not speak. Lin Feng noticed this, and said with a smile, little Qingzi, what do you want to say? Yang Qing bowed and said, Master, disciple has not been in the sect for a long time. I feel that my understanding of our sect's fundamental Tao techniques, the 8 trigrams Tao scripture of heaven is not thorough enough. I am afraid I am not qualified to take on the heavy responsibility of teaching the second-generation disciples. Lin Feng looked at Yang Qing, and revealed a smile. He could roughly guess the reason for Yang Qing's hesitation. The question he raised just now was indeed one of the reasons, and the other reason was that although he came up the mountain earlier, he actually entered the sect together with the second-generation disciples. It was just that Yang Qing and Yu Hongyan were accepted as personal disciples by Lin Feng the moment they entered the sect. Now he was asked to choose inner disciples from these people who entered the sect together with him. Yang Qing could not help but feel a little awkward. But this reason was not easy to say, because it did not only involve him. Yu Hongyan's situation was similar to his. They both officially entered the sect under Xianmen Tianzong during the opening ceremony of the Sha continent. Lin Feng smiled slightly. When your Tao technique is derived, I will see it, then I will make a decision. Yang Qing nodded. Yu Hongyan who was beside him looked at him, but did not speak. In some sense, Yu Hongyan and Xiao Yan were somewhat similar. Their temperaments were more straightforward, but it did not mean that she was stupid. On the contrary, many times her reaction was very sharp. It was just that she did not like to fuss about most things. With regards to Yang Qing's concerns, Yu Hongyan was faintly aware, but her thoughts were different from Yang Qing, but Yu Hongyan did not say anything at this time. She believed that Lin Feng would make arrangements. In reality, the things that Yang Qing felt awkward, Lin Feng had also thought of, but Yu Hongyan and Yang Qing's situation was indeed different from those second-generation disciples. Before they entered the sect, they had actually participated in the Battle of the Sha continent with Xiao Yan and the others, and even before they were apprenticed to a master, the two of them were already at the foundation establishment stage. Their starting point was completely different from those second-generation disciples. Moreover, their innate talent and potential was far from what those second-generation disciples could compare to. However, it was also hard to guarantee that there would not be people who felt that it was unfair, feeling that Yu Hongyan and Yang Qing had reached the sky in a single bound. After all, only Lin Feng himself could see the value of their innate talent and potential. Other people would not be able to get the exact and direct data. Even if Yu Hongyan and Yang Qing were currently at the late stage of foundation establishment and middle stage of foundation establishment, people might still think that it was the result of Lin Feng specially treating them. In all fairness, it was also normal for others to have this kind of thinking. Lin Feng thought in his heart, the human heart is the hardest thing to guess, but as long as I make the best use of the situation and make thorough arrangements, it's actually not difficult. He already had a comprehensive consideration in his heart, so he did not care. Leaving a few disciples to stay in the depository of scriptures to figure out Tao techniques, Lin Feng came out alone and walked towards the pill room at the side. Raising his head to look at the signboard of Returning to Heaven Gold Pavilion, Lin Feng sighed, "Xiao Yan has something to do over there, so I can only do it myself today. You must definitely leave me some face." Entering the pill room, Lin Feng took out the rising spirit grass, as well as a dozen or so supplementary medicinal herbs that he had collected and prepared. With a light flick of his finger, the pill formula for the Heaven Spirit Replenishing Pill appeared. He put his palms together, and the true fire of the sun, which was flashing with a dazzling golden light, fell into the external fire furnace, and with a boom, it started to burn, even triggering the core fire of the pill furnace itself. The 8 trigrams great formation on the ground lit up, and as Lin Feng waved his palms, the wind-fire cattail fan hanging on the wall also started to flap. The various medicinal herbs, with the rising spirit grass in the lead, were thrown into the external fire furnace by Lin Feng, and instantly, bursts of medicinal fragrance wafted out. Looking at the pill furnace, Lin Feng felt slightly nervous, which was rare for him. Damn, ever since I concocted the thunderous great rejuvenating pill a long time ago, I haven't concocted pills again. I'm very rusty now. Won't the furnace explode? Chapter 355. Ever since Xiao Yan's alchemy potential was developed, Lin Feng happily became a hands-off shopkeeper. All the alchemy matters in Xianmen Tianzong were handed over to Xiao Yan to handle. Xiao Yan did not disappoint. Almost all the elixirs in the sect were refined by him. Together with the heavenly gold pavilion and the outer core furnace, Xiao Yan's medicinal herbs were extremely efficient. There was almost no waste of medicinal herbs, which made Lin Feng very satisfied. However, now that Xiao Yan was thrown into the Sutras depository by Lin Feng to comprehend the Taoist law, Lin Feng had to do the alchemy himself. However, alchemy was a purely technical work. It did not mean that the higher the cultivation realm of the cultivator, the higher the success rate of alchemy. Otherwise, the 100 Herbs ancestor of the 100 Herbs sect would not have been so popular in front of the Wilderness Sword sect. In terms of alchemy skills alone, the 100 Herbs ancestor of the Yuanying stage was even better than many primordial soul experts. Lin Feng carefully adjusted the fire in the outer core furnace and refined the medicinal herbs in the furnace. Because it was the first time he refined the Heaven Spirit Supplement pill, there were still many details that Lin Feng had to explore on the spot while refining the pill. However, what made Lin Feng feel gratified was that the whole process of refining the pill was quite smooth. There were no accidents. Bursts of medicinal fragrance floated out of the elixir furnace. These medicinal fragrance condensed in the air and turned into auspicious clouds. I haven't practiced for many years, but my skills are still not bad. Lin Feng thought to himself with a proud smile on his face. In this way, he kept watching for 48 hours. The condensed auspicious clouds above the elixir furnace had completely turned golden. From the golden auspicious clouds, there was a constant ringing sound, like the sound of a bell and drum. Lin Feng stared at the elixir furnace and knew that it was the last moment. The Heaven Spirit Supplement pill was about to be refined. Success or failure depended on this last step. He flicked his finger and a stream of blood appeared in the air. The blood kept tumbling and there was a long roar from it, like the roar of a heavenly dragon. The shape of the blood also twisted and changed in mid-air, turning into the shape of a true dragon that kept swimming around. This was naturally offered by the black dragon Jiayu. When the old dragon was bled by Lin Feng back then, he was almost in tears. Lin Feng waved his hand, and the blood dragon in the air rushed into the out-sky core furnace. The golden auspicious clouds suddenly dispersed and let out a sky-shaking rumble. A stream of mysterious and elegant aura spread out from the outer sky flame cauldron. It's done. Lin Feng beamed. However, before he could complete the final process of pulling the pill, the aura in the outer core furnace suddenly changed. The originally calm and agile aura suddenly became tyrannical, wave after wave of violent energy fluctuations spread out. The space around the furnace of the outer sky core began to distort violently. Bolts of tribulation thunder emerged from the void and struck the golden auspicious clouds above the furnace. The originally peaceful clouds suddenly became ferocious, and there was a manic roar coming from it, as if a ferocious beast was born from it. When Lin Feng saw this, he frowned slightly. It's the pill tribulation, I didn't think of this before. Just like how inner demons would appear during the cultivation process of cultivators, there was a certain chance that inner demons would appear during the refining process of high-quality pills that were full of spiritual energy. If the inner demons could not be resolved, they would absorb all the spiritual energy that should belong to the pill to strengthen themselves. When this inner demon grew to a certain extent, it would turn from illusory to real and become a monster with a violent temper. If this monster was tempered by the tribulation thunder and did not dissipate, it would be able to withstand the lightning tribulation. Then, it would completely possess the magical power to fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. It would become a monster that was not inferior to the old monsters of the Yuanying stage. This process was commonly known by cultivators as the pill tribulation. If one could subdue the inner demon and resolve the pill tribulation, the quality of the pill would be improved after this trial. The problem is, I don't know how to resolve the pill tribulation. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and carefully adjusted the real fire of the sun in the furnace. This kind of thing could not be done with just strength. Although using too much strength could eliminate the inner demon in the pill, it would also destroy the ingredients, and this furnace of pills would be equivalent to refining in vain. Raising his head to look at the flashing tribulation thunder, Lin Feng straightened his 5 fingers like a blade and lightly chopped down from the sky. The celestial boundary spell was cast, and its target was the heaven spirit defect replenishing pill that was about to be formed in the furnace. Under the effect of the spell, the roaring inner demon in the pill was immediately restrained, and its vitality was greatly reduced. However, it still stubbornly resisted. Lin Feng thought to himself, relying on external spells can't cure the root of the problem. It can only suppress it. Even if I completely suppress this inner demon, it will still leave traces in the pill itself, and it may even cause the inner demon of the disciple who took the pill to be born. If I want to completely cure it, I still need to think of a way to refine the pill. Thinking of this, Lin Feng strengthened his control over the real fire of the outer heaven core furnace. Inside the furnace, dozens of black pills had already been formed. The surface of the pills kept fluctuating, and one could vaguely see ferocious faces moving up and down. Lin Feng controlled the real fire of the sun to not directly explode on the surface of the pills. Instead, it pierced deeply into the pills like thorns. During this process, Lin Feng carefully controlled the real fire of the sun to ensure that it would not explode prematurely and turn into a raging fire. Only when the needle-shaped real fire of the sun had thoroughly penetrated into the pills did Lin Feng control the real fire of the sun to explode. These pills let out a whimpering sound and shook violently in the furnace. It was a sign that they were about to explode at the same time. Lin Feng's expression didn't change. With a thought, a few wind-fire palm leaf fans fanned together. The wind was extremely gentle, and after entering the outer heaven core furnace, it made the furnace's flames suddenly rise, wrapping the shaking pills. Below the furnace, the 8 trigrams on the floor of the furnace room shone with a golden light. Under the illumination of the golden light, the originally surging furnace fire gradually calmed down. Along with it, the pills that were about to explode also calmed down. The pills became stable once again, and the inner devil inside them had vanished under the refinement of the real fire of the sun. The golden cloud above the cauldron became peaceful again. Lin Feng laughed heartily. He clapped his hands, and the golden clouds flowed back into the outer heaven core furnace. The furnace lid was opened, and multicolored light shone brightly, and a medicinal fragrance assailed everyone's nostrils. Streams of white light rushed out of the furnace one after another, and Lin Feng collected them one by one. These pills were as big as a baby's fist. They were snow-white and translucent. The center of each pill was faintly black, and the black core was faintly discernible. It was as if a hole was constantly being repaired. These pills were none other than the heavenly spirit replenishing pill, which could improve a cultivator's innate bone structure. Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. The road to happiness is strewn with setbacks. But at least the ending is satisfactory. After collecting the heavenly spirit replenishing pill and extinguishing the fire in the outer heaven core furnace, Lin Feng walked out of the pill room and sent his consciousness into the system. It was time for the monthly lottery again. Lin Feng entered the lottery system and looked around. Then, he fixed his eyes on an item in the roulette system. It was a piece of pure white, translucent jade. Lin Feng had seen this item before. It was the space spirit jade that Yu Hongyan owned. It could contain anything, including the infinite evil qi. Moreover, this space spirit jade was even bigger than Yu Hongyan's bracelet. This thing is not bad, it's the best material for making storage bags. After it's split up, it can be made into multiple storage bags. Lin Feng calculated in his heart, very good, you're the one. After calculating the number of the space spirit jade, Lin Feng started to spin the roulette to start the lottery. Even though Lin Feng had figured out the rules of the roulette system, the roughly 1 in 4 probability was still not very stable. It was impossible to guarantee that he would get what he wanted. In the previous few draws, Lin Feng had missed his target item quite a few times. However, compared to the other lottery draw systems, the roulette system was the one that Lin Feng had the most confidence in. Apparently, Lin Feng's luck was pretty good this time. He had obtained the space spirit jade as he wished. Lin Feng weighed the space spirit jade in his hand and said, not bad. If I cut it into smaller pieces, I can make hundreds of storage bags with it. Then, he casually cut the piece of space spirit jade into 100 pieces of the same size. Because of this, each piece of space spirit jade had become very small. However, such a small piece of space spirit jade was enough to create a huge space. With a flick of his finger, Lin Feng sent a stream of purple qi into the air. It divided into 100 strands of purple qi and distributed them evenly to each piece of space spirit jade. After that, they turned into small rings with the space spirit jade embedded on them. Lin Feng pondered in his heart, Xiao Yan and the other direct disciples will definitely get one each, Nanhua, Shihao and the other sect protectors will also get one each without any suspense. That old dragon Jiayu contributed quite a bit of dragon scale blood, I can also give him one as a reward. Tunton, you can forget about it. You can carry your own storage bag with you. Lin Feng thought to himself, as for the other disciples, I'll have to think about it carefully. When Xiao Yan and the others recruit their own inner chamber disciples, I'll give them one each. As for the others, I'll give them ordinary storage bags. Only with rewards and punishments can there be competition. However, I'll have to announce the rules in advance, so the rewards and punishments have to be fair. While Lin Feng was calculating, his heart suddenly moved, a smile appearing on his face. Is little Lin going to succeed? Sensing the movement in the mysterious heaven-time light utopia, Lin Feng flew up to the top of the mysterious heaven treasure tree and entered the mysterious heaven-time utopia. The mysterious heaven-time utopia had regained its peace. The lucky child was sleeping soundly under the small mysterious heaven treasure tree, and the sloppy old man was still playing chess with himself. The ominous sword had returned to its original form. The girl carried a huge sword case that was completely disproportionate to her body and slowly walked around the small treasure tree. Her route and speed did not change at all. Under the treasure tree, Wang Lin sat silently. His body was covered by a cloud of black qi, cold and deathly still. However, in the center of the black qi, the vitality was becoming more and more obvious. It was like a grass sprout that was about to break through the soil and come into contact with the air. Chapter 356. Lin Feng stood next to Wang Lin and silently looked at his third disciple. Wang Lin's body was surrounded by black gas. It was the power of nirvanic destruction that was even darker and more despairing than the qi of dead spirits. It contained the most origin of the two extreme powers, as well as the most powerful concept of life and death. In the black gas, one could vaguely see the 8 phenomena of heaven, earth, wind, thunder, water, fire, mountain, and swamp rising and falling, intertwining to form a new world. However, as soon as this world was formed, it would collapse under the effect of the power of nirvanic destruction. However, after it collapsed, it would not be completely annihilated. After destruction came new life. A vigorous vitality was born in the center of the black gas, becoming more and more intense. Lin Feng looked at Wang Lin's calm face, and for a moment, his thoughts drifted. It was as if he had returned to the time when he first met Wang Lin many years ago. At that time, Lin Feng had been struggling to find his fourth direct disciple. Suddenly, he received news of Wang Lin, but when he rushed to the Hengyu Peak, he happened to see Wang Lin join the Hengyu sect. At that time, Wang Lin had just been determined to have an extremely poor aptitude, and it was impossible for him to embark on the path of cultivation. Because of his suicide, the Hengyu sect was afraid that it would affect their reputation, so they reluctantly accepted him. Among his fellow disciples, Wang Lin was a joke and the target of everyone's ridicule. But now, the loser of the past was about to form the golden elixir, crossing a threshold that many people might not be able to cross in their entire lives. Moreover, this was only the beginning. For Wang Lin, advancing to the golden elixir period was the time when his cultivation officially entered the fast lane and began to advance by leaps and bounds. Before the golden elixir period, the requirements for a cultivator's bone structure were the highest, but once the core formation stage was successful, as long as the quality of the golden elixir was guaranteed, then from then on, the greatest factors for a cultivator's cultivation would be their comprehension and will. These two aspects were Wang Lin's greatest strengths. They were heaven-defying, and he could look down on all living things. Moreover, with the triple strengthening from the Divine Stone Spirit spiritual platform, the Heavenly Spirit replenishing pill, and the Heaven-mending vine, Wang Lin's constitution was no longer the same as before. As for the quality of the golden elixir, it all depended on today. Finally, when the vitality contained in the power of nirvanic extermination reached its peak, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. The power of nirvanic extermination around him suddenly transformed into the vigorous power of creation. The two poles reversed, and life and death interchanged. A purple pill cauldron hovered above the spirit platform in his sea of qi. A golden elixir phantom was bobbing up and down inside the pill cauldron. At this moment, the magic power that was filled with the power of creation was pouring into the golden elixir phantom. The illusory figure shone brightly and turned into a pill that flickered with a purple-golden radiance. A golden elixir was swallowed into his stomach, and he had broken through the door of no indulgence. Once the golden elixir was formed, Wang Lin's entire spirit and appearance became completely different. His golden elixir vibrated slightly, and black gas suddenly surged out from it. It was the power of creation and the concept of world creation. At this moment, all of it was transformed into the power of nirvanic extermination. The dark power of nirvanic extermination surrounded Wang Lin's golden elixir like a dark cloud that covered the sky. However, it could not block out the warm white light that faintly seeped out from the black gas. A satisfied smile appeared on Lin Feng's face. He nodded repeatedly. Good, very good. Not only did he form a purple pill, but the golden elixir also gave birth to a strange phenomenon. This was the most perfect result. Wang Lin's countless hard work finally paid off at this moment. From now on, he would definitely embark on a path that was much smoother than before. His talent would erupt like a geyser, shocking the world. During the Desolate Sea's secret conference, Wang Lin had already made everyone look at him in a different light. With his early-stage foundation establishment cultivation, he had defeated Dao Yuding, Hu Chen, and the others, who were at the peak of foundation establishment. This had shocked everyone. However, in Lin Feng's opinion, Wang Lin had still been a pearl covered in dust at that time. His talent and strength had still been concealed, and the world had not truly recognized him. Now, however, Wang Lin had truly wiped away the dust on him and started to release his dazzling brilliance. It was also a release after a long accumulation. Unlike Zhu Yi's stable and orderly way of handling heavy things as if they were light, Wang Lin's increase in cultivation represented an explosive impact, like the eruption of a volcano. In a short period of time, he had directly jumped 3 levels from the early-stage foundation establishment to the early-stage golden elixir. This speed was enough to shock the world. Wang Lin stood up, and his entire temperament was even more reserved. Facing Lin Feng, the master and disciple were speechless, and for a moment, they were both thinking about many things. Only 2 years had passed in the outside world, but to Wang Lin, who had been in seclusion in the mysterious sky cave all year round, a long time had passed. When he first entered the sect, Xiao Budian and the other 2 were already at the 8th level of Qi disciple, but he had to start from the 1st level of Qi disciple. When he finally reached the 12th level of Qi disciple, Xiao Budian, Xiao Yan, and Zhu Yi had already advanced to the foundation establishment stage for an unknown period of time. Finally, when Wang Lin succeeded in the foundation establishment stage, the other 3 disciples who entered the sect before him had all formed their cores. They were always chasing and could only look at the backs of others. Moreover, it was as if the distance between them was getting further and further. This feeling of despair and frustration was enough to destroy the confidence and will of most people. Later, even Yu Hongyan and Yang Qing, who entered the sect later, had also left Wang Lin behind in their cultivation realms. As a result, when he first participated in the Wilderness Sea Assembly, Wang Lin had almost become a laughing stock in the eyes of the disciples of the other sections. When they first met, in the eyes of many people, Wang Lin was Xianmen Tianzong's shortcoming, the only mediocre talent among all the monstrous disciples, and the only mistake and stain in the mysterious Gates sect Master Lin Feng's disciple selection was a stain. Wang Lin did not make any response to this. He was not used to using words to refute. Only action was the most powerful weapon. Lin Feng knew this very well. He had seen every step of Wang Lin's growth and every bit of effort. He had seen how the thin and weak youth, who was originally thought to be unable to cultivate, had walked step by step to where he was today. He had seen him finally enjoy the sweet after suffering. Wang Lin faced Lin Feng and slowly prostrated himself. "Master, please urge this disciple more in the future." There was still no superfluous words, but Wang Lin's voice, which had always been steady, was actually trembling slightly at this moment. It was this man in front of him who had brought him into a whole new world. Moreover, when others were doubting and mocking him, this man had always stood behind him unwaveringly, nurtured him carefully, and spent his efforts to support him. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and supported Wang Lin up in the air. He said with a smile, "This is something that I often say. When you succeed, look back at the hard work and effort you have put in along the way. Don't forget these. They will make it easier for you to achieve further success." Wang Lin nodded repeatedly. "This disciple will remember Master's teachings." Lin Feng said with a smile, "There should be new gains this time, right?" Wang Lin also smiled. I'll have to trouble Master to correct me. With that, his golden elixir shook, and his entire aura changed. It became incomparably cold and gloomy, bringing with it the most despairing and suffocating feeling. It was as if the king of hell had descended into the human world and turned the world into a silent hell. Seeing this, Lin Feng nodded slightly. After little Lin advanced to the golden elixir period, the power of the Yellow Springs Death Realm has become even stronger. When Wang Lin entered the Yellow Springs Death Realm during the Foundation establishment stage, he had only transformed his magic power into the power of nirvanic extermination. But now, after Wang Lin used the Yellow Springs Death Realm during the Golden Elixir period, the power of nirvanic extermination had already begun to corrode space. The entire space Wang Lin was in had fused with nirvanic extermination, as if the boundaries of the world had been blurred. In this space, it was equivalent to Wang Lin's home ground. He could fight and cast spells with twice the results with half the effort. But if Wang Lin's opponents were here, they would be suppressed by the omnipresent power of nirvanic extermination. The spells they used and the magic power they released would all be worn down or even destroyed by the power of nirvanic extermination. It could be imagined that if Wang Lin's cultivation advanced further, it was very likely that he would have the ability to directly create a real independent small world. A small world on the brink of nirvanic extermination. Once an enemy was dragged into it, they would immediately suffer the attack of the power of nirvanic extermination. Wang Lin put his palms together, and a dark and gloomy black-yellow path appeared in the space. It was the Yellow Springs Death Realm. But the spell Wang Lin was about to cast now was not the Yellow Springs Death Realm. The Yellow Springs Death Realm was just the beginning. At the end of the path, there was a majestic river. But the strange thing was that although the river was surging and imposing, there was not the slightest sound of water. Instead, there was a deathly silence, which made people click their tongues in wonder. The river was dim and filled with the power of annihilation. It was the domineering and evil Yellow Springs True Water. After Wang Lin advanced to the Golden Elixir period, he could finally unleash the true power of the Yellow Springs Pearl that he carried with him. He could directly draw a large amount of Yellow Springs True Water into the human world and refine it to form a brand new spell for Wang Lin. River of Forgetfulness. After the Yellow Springs Death Realm, the River of Forgetfulness was Wang Lin's newly created spell. Although Lin Feng did not touch the river water, he could feel the power contained in it. It was the mystery of the path of life and death that extended from the creation of nirvanic extermination. River of Forgetfulness is the rumored boundary between the Yellow Springs Death Realm and the underworld. Lin Feng nodded slightly. At the same time, it is also the boundary between the world of the living and the world of the dead. Little Lin's spell not only unleashes the power of the Yellow Springs True Water, but it also incorporates the concept of the two extremes of life and death. After Wang Lin demonstrated the spell of the River of Forgetfulness to Lin Feng, he retracted all his magic power. Even the Yellow Springs Death Realm disappeared without a trace. Actually, there is another spell, but it is only a vague shadow in my mind. Wang Lin showed a rare embarrassed expression. I still need to carefully study it before I can really have some ideas. Lin Feng smiled. Oh. Then I am very much looking forward to it. But now, I have an assignment for you. After explaining to Wang Lin about accepting disciples and deducing Dao techniques, Wang Lin nodded. This disciple will obey Master's orders. Lin Feng and Wang Lin left the mysterious Heaven-Time Light Grotto Heaven together and arrived outside the scripture repository. Just as they reached the entrance, Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and smiled. Little Lin, it seems that some of your senior and junior brothers have already achieved results. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.